Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the ultimate Cleveland sports show, along with G. Bush, Dustin Fox, Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got a lot to get to on this big Thursday show. Mike, Anthony, Steve behind the glass, Earl up in the studio. You guys forgot to close the curtain for the first time ever.
No, well, yeah, that's
Dustin's fault?
Probably.
Dustin's fault.
That is the first time
Does
ever.
that really matter?
This is what we do on the show. We point out things like this.
Why does that matter?
It keeps some of the sound out.
Yeah.
To this guy?
Look, have you just met me today, Tyvis?
That's
You've known
my
me a
point.
while now. I bring things up like that because I keep it real.
That's funny because I didn't even think about
You
it.
didn't even compute.
The
for you.
littlest things bother this guy.
That's right.
I see you got that Timberlake on. I like that, man. That's that right.
So listen,
I like that Timberlake right there.
listen, man. I'm calling this. I'm bringing it back.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm starting something new. Cabin leisure.
Cabin leisure. I like that, man. I
Cabin
like
leisure.
that, man. That's dope, man. That's fire, bro.
With the Jordan boots?
Yeah,
It
the
all
Jordan
look- it all
boots,
does look very
10
cozy.
The 10 boots. Yeah, them is all right,
Cabin
man.
leisure.
There you go.
There it is. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the fashion show.
We spend 5 minutes every day on Garrett's outfit.
That's true.
Can I
every
get
day.
20 seconds?
Can-
How about
I'm
birthday
trying-
wish?
I'm trying to show. Yeah, I'm trying to show that man
Still
some
on
love.
that
He's still
birthday
killing
wish.
it, man.
Yeah,
I'm not bitter about the birthday thing.
not at all.
No.
Not
I
at
brought
all.
it up 17 times.
Later, we'll talk about Josh Naylor, and Max Strus is going to make his Cavs 2024 debut on Friday. But we're going to start with Jimmy Haslam speaking yesterday. That's coming up in a second. First, Mike.
Yeah, let's dive right into things today, guys. You can tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
You ever wake up in the middle of the night and you're having a bad dream? You just can't go back to sleep because the dream was so bad.
That happened to me today.
Did it?
It
Me
did.
too.
What
It's
happened?
disturbing. I don't want to get into the details.
Well, I'll tell you mine real quick.
Go ahead.
Because he didn't already did the read, so
Yeah.
let me do it real quick. We should have did it on the other end. But
Yeah, we
whatever.
screwed up. But
Anyways,
quickly.
So you know how, well, you don't, I don't know if you do know. When
Yeah.
you take your kid and you put him in the car and then
Yeah.
you got to run back in the house to do something, to go grab something. I did that with my oldest daughter in this dream. I put her in the car, ran back in the house, and when I came back, somebody
Car
had
gone?
stole the car.
Oh, my God.
I felt like the dude off of Taken.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Yeah.
like, I got to go, like, this is my oldest. I got to go hunt this kid, this
boy.
dude down. Like,
It is
was-
bad, terrible.
I woke up at
couldn't go
like
back to
4
sleep.
in the morning. I could
Yeah.
not go
You
back to
guys,
sleep.
you guys all have children. I don't have any children. They say
you know
that I know of. Yeah. They say this is the worst feeling in the world. Like when you somewhere in the public and you turn around and your kid is gone.
It is.
Yeah.
Have you lost your kid like that one time? Like, or accident?
Yeah. It's happened like at Disney World, dude.
Oh, bro,
yeah,
did you get that sinking feeling in your stomach?
It's nothing worse. There's
just-
nothing
It's
worse
the same.
than
It's like that feeling when you hit your pocket and that wallet ain't in there.
yeah.
It's like, you know that feeling you
Now
get in your
it's your phone.
stomach.
It just sinks.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I feel.
Oh man.
At the zoo. It happened to me at the zoo once. I was lost my mind for a minute.
There are very few feelings that can make you like that sick, disgusted,
Right.
like just I don't even know. Like for instance, one of the things I always talk about with you is when like in my life I've slept in or overslept like 3 times,
Yeah.
and you wake up to the alarm,
yeah.
or the alarm doesn't go off and you wake up
and it's light.
and it's light out.
Yeah.
That's the worst too.
Especially in college.
I happened to be at Ohio State.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
my
you don't.
phone didn't go off, and I get it was a knock at the door. My roommates wake me up and say, "Tyvis, these gentlemen is outside to come get you." And it was the first day of mat drills at Ohio State.
Oh.
I was a freshman.
Oh.
So who
yeah.
came to get you?
My boy Greg Gillum came.
Oh, Greg Gillum. I know Greg Gillum. Come on.
came, knocked on my door. They took me in, and they was just so calm about it. I got there. Coach Mick was like, Just get in line. We'll talk about it afterwards. Just go get in there. And
Oh
start doing
my
your stuff.
gosh.
How'd the talk go?
So after I finished mat drills, he was like, so you got dawn patrol for the next 2 days. Dawn patrol, you got to come to the Woody at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you got to get on the stair climber and do the Jesus walks where you got to hold this stick and you got to walk up the stairs climbers for like 30 minutes. It was,
Have y'all ever
it was
had
terrible.
to push the towel?
Push the towel?
But they put the towels.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, it's the worst.
Whatever.
And I wouldn't go to class. I just would like. So they just kept being like, I'm like, but I got an A in there. They're like, no, that's not the way it works, dog. You have to go. Like, and they would check, and I wouldn't be there, and they would be like, why do you sign yourself up for this one down patrol? I don't know what it was, bro. But when you plan on going or you oversleep, that's why I got out. I'm not staying in your dorm. No, I'm not. I don't sleep in your dorm. I'm sleeping in mine, because when you wake up and that feeling, you look up and everything is light outside and your roommate don't wake you up. That's why they made us start staying with football players. At one point in time,
That's exactly why.
You know, remember in the movie, great movie, by the way, Home Alone?
Yes.
You know, when Kevin wakes up and he's like casually walking through his house, he's like walking around, and it's like very quiet, eerily quiet, and then nobody's there. That happened to me when I was in Buffalo Bills training camp.
Oh my God.
When I walked, dude, I'm like up, I'm walking, I go
scared.
into the cafeteria for breakfast, and it's like Kevin McAllister in the kitchen.
Nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Oh Lord.
Because you know what they did? The schedule was different that day.
Oh my God.
You didn't know it.
I didn't know it.
You didn't have a roommate?
No, not in training camp. We did not.
Oh, that's
So
devastating.
I wake up. I'm totally fine. Get a nice shower. You know, casually meandering my way down to the cafeteria, and I get there, and it was like a ghost town. And then I open my binder and look at the schedule, and it was a Saturday.
Oh, boy.
And every Saturday had been the same, except we had just had a game like 2 days earlier, so the schedule changed a little bit, so that the meetings were moved earlier.
So how late was you?
So I looked at the schedule. The meeting started in like 3 minutes from where I was at in the cafeteria, but this was like a half mile across campus.
Oh.
So
and
I
you
just
walk
get on
in.
the hot, bro.
Yeah.
Sprint.
How late were you?
4 minutes.
All right.
Did they catch you?
Dude, you know, you walk into and this is a team meeting.
Oh, you know.
Team. It wasn't even individual.
Team meeting.
Team meeting.
You got
Okay, so I walk.
You got to swing
and-
that door over and everybody look.
But bro, so we're in training camp in like a, it's like a big auditorium.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like a lecture hall. And the doors are shut, and so the lights are out, and I walk in. You know how you got to push the thing, and it's like click, click, and you open the door, and the door shuts behind you. Everybody looks back. Whole team, every coach, everything, and I just sit down and I just wait.
And then who got you? The head coach, position coach, defensive
Special
coordinator,
teams coordinator.
So, the guy that was probably looking out for you.
Because it was really a team special
the
teams
worst.
thing.
Yeah.
What is the dude that look out for you the most?
I'm cringing right now. I'm
Let him
sorry.
down.
I'm
It's
sorry.
painful.
I'm
Does it make
sorry.
you sick to your stomach just
Yes,
thinking about
it makes me sick right now. I don't like it.
One time in my life.
That's
it.
That's it.
You know what else can make you sick to your stomach? Watching the Cleveland Browns play football.
There you go.
There it
And
is.
we will go to that after this read from Mikey McNuggets.
Yeah, Bo, that was the worst job you've ever done hosting, where you sent it to me for a read
terrible
and let us
job,
go on
yeah.
a 7-minute
Terrible
tangent.
job, yeah.
I'm going to do the read again, then I got some special news
Yeah.
for you, then we'll get into the first topic. But you can tackle all the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We're going to start today's show with an article that Jeremy Fowler wrote on ESPN yesterday. Jeremy actually agreed to come on today's show. He's going to join us at noon. I just got word of that, so he'll be joining us in an hour
Awesome.
to discuss this article. But Steve, you take tag board full. This is the headline from the article, or the tweet he sent out. Hashtag Browns owner Jimmy Haslam tells ESPN he's perplexed by Cleveland's 3-10 record. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are the right pieces in place on the quarterback outlook. We need to get through the season, and we will look at everything from there, end quote. Bull,
Yeah.
you texted me this morning and said you had a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Well, I want to go to these guys first because I'm going to rant for a while. So I want everybody else to comment on it first. So, Tyvis, let's start with you and go around the horn here. What do you think about what Jimmy said? And do you agree with him? And do you buy it? Like, is he just saying that now? Or do you believe him and do you agree with him?
I don't think a lot of people look at the Browns as when you look at them and how the roster's constructed and all those things, a lot of people wouldn't say that they would be a 3-10 team. I think that due to the fact that they had such a rough start, that kind of put them in the positions that they are in. And honestly, it's their own doing from just not making those tough, hard decisions early on in the season. So I think that's why you're off to where you are now as far as a record goes. As far as Kevin and Andrew Berry goes, as him backing them, I think everybody would say I think Kevin's a good coach. I think he got a good pulse on things. The Andrew Berry, I mean, for the most part, he does find some good pieces that might work out for a couple games, maybe give you a year of solid play, but overall, the longevity of some of his decisions has not been great. Everybody always points to the draft, at him missing picks in the draft. I think when you look at this year or this offseason, I think Jimmy is probably going to give him the opportunity to do a first-round pick, because his last first-round pick was who?
Newsom.
Greg Newsom in 2021.
Greg Newsom. So I think he's going to at least give him one more shake at it. If this draft class doesn't pan out and they put themselves in even more of a hole, I think you really got to have a decision at the end of next season about the rest of this roster. But I mean, he's doing what an owner's supposed to do in the middle of a season. You're not supposed to. You're gonna come out there and say, "Yeah, the team stinks. The GM and the coach stink." Like, I don't think he's gonna do that. So I think that's why he said what he said, and I can see why he would feel that way in a positive point, because everybody knows that I'm a positive guy.
Dustin,
So this means nothing to me. Anything Jimmy Haslam says about the status of his coaches or his front office means nothing, because he said this in the past. Every single time there's been a coach or a team that hasn't had the success that we all thought they should have, or they thought they should have, or whatever. Like, when they haven't had great years, they say, yeah, we've got the right people in place. We're trying to streamline. We're doing all these things. It's December 12th today. Okay, in a month, all that can change. What happens on what if the Browns get blown out by 50 on Sunday? What happens like, things change in this league week to week. Yeah. It's sometimes 24 hours.
Yep.
Hell, 2 days ago, people were laughing at the idea of Bill Belichick coaching college football.
Yeah.
No.
What happened
Especially
today?
in North Carolina.
Especially North Carolina.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll talk about that later.
There's a connection.
I got some thoughts.
It's
but anyway.
a Tuesday to Tuesday league.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's the point. It all happens so fast, and all those comments, whatever, they're great. The only thing I care about that he said in those comments aren't even on the page. No one's talking about it.
What's that?
He made it. I don't have the exact verbiage, but it's something along the lines of, I'm learning to be more patient in terms of making decisions on the team. And I don't know if he means it or whatever, but at least he said it.
That is a positive.
So there you go. That's my 2 cents on it. The season's gone to hell in a handbasket because of Deshaun Watson in the quarterback situation. And so for them to be 3-10, that's why you're 3-10.
G. Bush, you're up.
I always say, elections have consequences, man. You chose who you wanted on the squad, bro. You made the decision to go get Deshaun Watson. That move didn't work out. You made the decision to bring basically everybody back. Stay pat. That was your decision, and you're just not good enough. You 3-10. So at the end of the year, despite what he says, something's going to change. I don't know any 3-10 organizations that nothing changes. Either it's going to be some movers and shakers on the coaching staff. Either it's going to be some changes in the front office or the structure or scouting or development or something. But, he could say Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are safe. But, when you're 3-10, that's a failure. You people don't take losses like that in no business, any way, shape, or form, and continue to run everything back the same way. So in the middle of the season, everybody has a vote of confidence. But like Dustin said, it all depends on what you do. This is a week-to-week type deal. And I know people don't like to hear this. They call it flip-flopping. No, it's called the real world. People wake up tomorrow and they give votes of confidence to CEOs and executives all the time, and players too, employees. Hey, we're not going to lay anybody off. Come Christmas time, we're laying off 3,000 workers and moving all jobs to this country. Like, dude, like they do this all the time. This is a major business, and I don't understand why we don't act like this is not a business. The NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA, they are good at one thing. They fleece us. They make us seem, they infuse hope and these big, gaudy things in front of us, and we just, oh yeah, they're trying to win, and it's all about, no, it's about that bottom dollar, bottom line, and what makes them get to making the decisions the quickest is 3-10 does not translate well into my bottom line, into me, people going out, spending that bread, and me getting a new stadium. So we're going to have to figure something out. And it starts at the quarterback position because you still don't have one. And as long as you don't really got one and with no plan, people aren't going to be enthusiastic about going into next year because you don't have a plan at quarterback. So we'll wait till the rest of the season, let it play out. But I'm not going to get all worked up about what he's talking about. It's all about what you do for me now. Hey, show me some draft picks and get to working.
Go ahead.
So just one more thought on Haslam for a second. This was a few years ago, but somebody who was prominent in the organization, no longer works for the organization, told me something when I asked them. I said, it was a certain thing. I'm like, what's Jimmy thinking about this? Yeah. And they said, well, it depends. Depends on who he talked to last.
Yeah.
Like literally the last person to left his office may be the impression that changes his mind. But that is sort of the mentality of this particular person. It's not just Jimmy. Like billionaires in general, they are willy-nilly with their decisions because they can be. Because you've got zillions of dollars that you can cover up for things. And
if you
whatever.
screw up, so what? I'll put more money on it. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, money's not buying you wins.
No.
Before you go, Bill,
yeah.
Dustin referenced part of the article. I just want to read that one little part so everyone knows exactly. Yeah. This is a quote from the ESPN article from Jeremy Fowler from Jimmy Haslam. And I quote, "I've learned not to get too emotional during the season. We'll sit down after the season and we'll go through everything, evaluate for next year." End quote.
Yeah.
So that was what Dustin was referring to.
And I don't know if he means that or if it's really had an impact on him, but at least he acknowledges it.
The fact that he acknowledges it at least means, even if he hasn't gone as far as we want him to in that vein.
Yeah. Hopefully there's been some sort of self-awareness along the lines.
Yeah. Listen, we've all been around this team long enough to know that we've heard a lot of the same things that Dustin just said, that Jimmy blows with the wind, right? He talks to Ken Dorsey one day, he talks to Kevin Stefanski the next day, and he changes his opinion. And that's not even, whether it's billionaires or not, but yes, billionaires can, if they screw up, they can just throw more money at it. The rest of us, though, we can be moved that way too when you hear a different argument. I'll say this, though, I was really thinking about this. First of all, I'm with you. I don't care what Jimmy says now. If the Browns lose their last 4 games and get smoked in 3 of them, like, everybody's getting fired, probably, and maybe deservedly so. I was thinking really about Kevin Stefanski, and I for years, I've liked Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a good coach. And I was thinking this morning, well, what do I really like about Kevin Stefanski? I was really thinking about this. And I was thinking about every time somebody says Kevin Stefanski's a good coach and you ask them why, the answer is always, well, he's 2-time coach of the year. He's got to be a good coach.
That's
what they say all the time.
1,000. You're 1,000% right. It's so funny you say that because I've been thinking about this too, and I'm like, I think he's a really good coach, and I'm like, the guy's been 2-time coach of the year, and I think maybe we talked about this on this show, but like, what's that mean? It means you took a crappy team and made him good.
Yeah.
Or it was somewhat decent, made him relevant. I don't know.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be very Browns-like that last year they won 12 games and fired essentially the entire offensive staff except for Stefanski?
Sure.
And this year they're going to win 3 games or 4 games and not fire anybody. That makes no sense whatsoever. But go ahead, G.
You are correct. I like to ask people, can you give me examples instead of just saying, okay, he's a great coach, and you say, okay, well, give me something to point to that.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, there's things about Kevin Stefanski I like. I know some people want a fiery coach, and that can work. Some fiery coaches work. There's no if only one way worked, then every coach would be exactly the same. Andy Reid, the best coaches in the league, whether it was Belichick, Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Mike Tomlin, Harbaugh, I mean, those guys aren't really alike personality-wise. I mean, I don't know them personally, but just what you see in the public is Bill Belichick anything like Mike Tomlin or anything like Andy Reid? They seem to be very different guys. So there's no one set formula that makes a great coach. Some people don't like that Kevin Stefanski's kind of chill. I think in general, I like that he doesn't get too high or doesn't get too low, that he doesn't let the emotions, because emotions can get in your way as an athlete, whatever, a human being. Certainly as a coach, sometimes your emotions can get in your way, and I feel like he doesn't let that happen. That's good. On the other hand, there's a mealiness about him that...
What's that word mean?
He just like a mush. He's like a little bit of a mush.
Right, Bull? Just
Uh,
goes by the wayside. A ho-hum.
Kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, it's like,
laissez-faire.
You know, Mike Tomlin is, and I can't compare to Mike Tomlin. Nobody's like Mike Tomlin in the NFL. Like Mike Tomlin gets in players' faces. I think
Dan
unlike
Campbell.
almost.
I mean, same. Like
Yeah, but
more like you said.
Dan Campbell's a little more lighthearted about it. It feels,
but still brash. Both of them.
Yes, but most coaches in the NFL aren't like that. Like, there's not a lot of Mike Tomlin.
Especially nowadays, most of these coaches are 34-year-old guys that went to MIT.
Exactly, and that's what Kevin Stefanski is. Like, he's a nerdy guy, and like he doesn't seem to get like. But the truth is, I can make a list of a couple things I like about Stefanski, a couple things I don't like. Like we were saying a year ago, well, he gets the best out of all his quarterbacks. I don't know if that's true. Baker Mayfield's playing his best football in Tampa Bay.
Right.
Deshaun Watson played his worst football here. Now, did he get a lot out of Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco, in the last 6-7 years, he got his best football here. Jameis is playing pretty well, but I would argue he played his best football in New Orleans that 7-game stretch.
Brissett's the other one.
But was Brissett really that good?
They had a top 10 offense with Brissett. Was he great? I don't know. But they
was
did have
it
a
top 10 based on what?
EPA.
That's hard to believe.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think sometimes, and we can't underestimate this, when you haven't seen anything good and you haven't seen any success and you don't have any quarterbacks and you don't have the type of players that other people have, when you get a little glimpse of something, you're just going to be excited.
That's right.
Because you're getting a chance to see it for the first time. For you, you're like, oh, we love this. We got to have this. This is, and really, other people around the league are like, you guys are happy about Jacoby Brissett being your quarterback? You'll never win.
That was somewhat of the argument about Baker, that I thought people were overrating Baker because every other quarterback was such shit here that Baker was pretty good. So we're like, oh, he must be great. And maybe we're doing the same thing with Kevin Stefanski. All the other coaches were so awful that maybe Kevin Stefanski's just kind of middle of the road, and we think he's better than he is. I mean, some people, and I know Jason's one of the people that think like, oh, he's going to get a job in 2 seconds. I know Ben Axelrod feels the same way. As soon as Kevin Stefanski gets fired, I don't know. Is that definitely true? But in the end, there's so much we don't know. And even the fact that you guys played in the league, you're not in that Browns locker room. You may know guys in there. You guys have probably more connections than almost anybody else. But ultimately, we don't know, like, what is Kevin Stefanski doing on a daily basis? Is he the man? Like, we've accused Jimmy Haslam or Paul DePodesta of forcing things on Kevin Stefanski. Well, if that's the case, then is he a great leader? Like, some other coaches wouldn't put up with that stuff.
And Bull, like, I don't understand in what other industry. I try not to talk about the DePodesta thing because I think it just sounds wild. Because
he's the boogeyman.
He's the straw man because
Wizard of Oz.
We don't. He's never came out and said what his job is. We just know he's a flashy name that did something else, and we know he's in an organization. So now anything that we don't like or anything that happens, we don't have to address what's in the room. We don't have to say, Kevin, I don't know about that. Andrew Berry, I don't know about that pick. We can always say DePodesta is the large figure hanging over everything and he's pulling the strings when we don't even know what his job description is and we don't even hear from him or talk to him. So how could we put all of that stuff on a dude that it's almost as dumb as saying, well, the Browns aren't going to win unless Jimmy sells the team. You guys, when is the last time a billionaire cared anything about what you said? Ever. They're gonna he's not selling the team. So we can try to figure out what we're gonna do to get the team better. But talking about DePodesta and Haslam is not an effective way.
In fairness, I would argue that us yelling at the Guardians about spending money is the same thing as complaining.
You made a brilliant point. They're not changing that. Like they're not changing their business model for that. Like because they know you. See, sports is a religion now. Like. It doesn't. People will say, "Oh, I'm not watching that anymore." Yes, you will. Yeah. It's almost like saying, "When is the last time you saw somebody that was a devout religious person switch their religion overnight just because of what you said?"
It doesn't happen.
It don't happen, man. We're in the same camp, so.
Guardians had their highest attendance in 20 years, and they're not the Indians. Remember all the people who said they were going to go?
I'm done. Forget it. Because if they change these colors.
Well, everybody said when they acquired Watson.
It's like that meme. It's like the guy sitting there with the sign at the campus is like, change my mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
I mean, you said before, people are not, there's no the quarterback situation is not sold, so nobody's going to get excited. That's not true. At the beginning of next football season, every Browns fan is going to find a way to convince themselves that the Browns are contenders, whether it's realistic
It's
or
happened
not.
every year. It's happened since you and I
Absolutely.
in 2011, in 2012.
Yes.
It didn't matter who would. Brian Hoyer were pumped up.
Colt McCoy, the list goes on and on.
They'll get that little boost. It's always a 15 or 20% of the population that are going to drink the Kool-Aid, right?
Well, I think it's more than that at the beginning of the season.
At the beginning.
But as the year goes by, it
but
goes
slowly
down
but surely, as we get to hear, the only people talk about the Browns are the people that get paid to talk about them. Like, we just be like, Browns topics, huh?
I think in the end, what I'm trying to say is it's a very complicated decision. Like, sometimes it's obvious. With Matt Eberflus in Chicago,
right,
it became obvious that guy had to be fired.
Right.
I think with Kevin Stefanski and to some degree Andrew Berry, I don't know that I'm not sure there's a right answer. Like, part of me is just like they should keep him because they never have stability, and they finally have stability, and he's a decent coach. I don't think he's certainly not great, but he's definitely not terrible. So I think they should stick with him, and maybe he'll keep getting better because as long as you're not terrible, you probably keep getting better as you go. And then there's the other part of me that says, I don't know if he's a good leader. The team has gone backwards every time they've had success. They've gone backwards the following year. So maybe they should fire him. And I'm kind of going back and forth. And if you believe that he should be fired, you're going to think I'm an idiot for saying he shouldn't be. And if you think he should be, vice versa.
I wonder if they have analytics, McNuggets, and I'll be interested in what you said about this. Do you think they have analytics from people that are that are doing this, that's breaking down this content and saying, let's take a look at the sample size of all these different coaches and GMs, right? And what if they come up with a formula that says, you know what? There really is no good such thing as a great head coach. There's 2 or 3 really good ones as a head coach, and there's 2 or 3 really good GMs that are outliers. But generally speaking, the rest
That's what Bull's been saying for the 3 years I've known him.
I think there's 4 great head coaches in the NFL: Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, and which is the hardball in Baltimore? I always forget.
John. Not Dan
John
Campbell.
I'm not ready to go great yet. Because what's he done?
Let me ask you a
based
question.
on the sample size.
Maybe he is.
So what I was trying to get at, I'll let you go before I was trying to get at is maybe it comes down to somebody saying, it's just the luck of the draw. If you get a generational player, it's going to guarantee you an opportunity to win a Super Bowl.
But you know what? The Bengals have Bengals have 2 generational players. I don't think Zach Taylor's a great coach.
But it's so firing a head coach or a GM to them may not make that all that big of a difference. So they'll probably say you can either keep them or you can let them go. It's not going to be that big of a margin between you winning at the highest level or not winning at the highest level.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
And then you go.
Real quick, Tyvus. Let me ask you guys this. Let's use the Bengals as an example because unlike the Browns, they have their franchise quarterback. We know what they have in terms of skill position. Obviously, their defense has been awful this year, but they're not without talent. So to me, they shouldn't be as bad as they've been. I'm not saying they should be good, but they shouldn't be quite this bad. If Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Mike Tomlin, or Harbaugh were the coach of the Bengals, would their record be a whole lot better?
Yes.
I would say most likely. Yeah.
Now,
and the thing about the NFL now with these coaches is it's such a delicate balance because the game's evolved to the point where it's so much X's and O's and the way that offenses have progressed. And so it's always like, hey, we want to stay ahead of the game. And so these younger coaches who are innovative,
Yeah.
are getting these jobs. And those guys don't have the experience some of the older coaches have of being great leaders.
Well, and that's a great point because that brings me to another thing. So the hot coaching candidate, obviously Vrabel's a hot coaching candidate. But of the young guys, the hottest coach candidate, of course, is Ben Johnson from Detroit because he's done a great job with that offense. But that doesn't mean he's going to be a good head coach. Just because you're a good play caller, idea that, and again, Ben Johnson might be the next great head coach. I'm not saying.
Josh is a good example.
Right.
And Josh is my guy.
Yeah.
Canton guy, I've been advocate for him. It just hasn't worked out for him for whatever reason. He's a brilliant offensive mind. He's a brilliant football coach. But it just hasn't worked out. I don't know if he's a great leader or not. He was around one of the best.
Some guys are great coordinators and just not head coaches.
Can I give you an example of one that I don't know the answer to, but I think is a good case study? So Brian Daboll is the Giants head coach, right? His first year with the Giants, he leads them to the playoffs with Daniel Jones as his quarterback.
Yeah.
Pushes all the right buttons. Similar to how Kenny Atkinson's doing everything right in his first year with the Cavs. Daboll went for every right time. That was not a talented team that won a playoff game. They've been absolute dog crap since.
Yeah.
Is he a good coach because he got into the playoffs in year one? Is he a terrible coach because they've been horrific the last 2 years? I don't know how to evaluate someone like that. And to Dustin and your guys' point, it's so much situational at times that it really is hard to gauge. Can a guy coach? Is he just a coordinator? Is he terrible?
Right.
When you don't have equal circumstances for each coach in each situation.
I just think it's hard because I think one of the things that we forget, some of those names that we just mentioned is those are first-time head coaches. Like we talk about Kevin, he's been he got here in 2020. It's only this is the fourth year he's been, fifth season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Andy Reid's coach had been a head coach at 3 different places.
Right. I'm trying to remember when Tomlin and Harbaugh and Andy Reid started. Did we think they were great in the first few years? I can't remember now. Maybe.
Whose record do you want me to look up?
Well, I mean, Harbaugh was because I remember because I played for him in 2007 in Philadelphia, and then he got the job in Baltimore 2008?
I don't remember exactly.
And then,
08,
and then they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He went 11-5 his first year,
Right,
9-7 his second, 12-4, 12-4, 10-6, and that's the year they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Didn't Tomlin win the Super Bowl his first year?
He won it
second year or something like that.
2009.
But how often does that happen?
Right. Now, and those guys went into great circumstances.
Tomlin's second year won it. 10-6 as a rookie. His
And that was
first
09,
season,
right?
12-4.
Yeah.
Was that 09?
07, he won in 08.
108.
I mean, for Stefanski, what was it? Is his first year was the COVID year?
Correct.
And they went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And won a playoff game.
Well, he wasn't there, but yes.
And then 2 years later, he went to the playoffs again.
3 years.
3 years later.
Also, love the narrative change on the coach in the playoff game thing.
Oh yeah, listen.
A year or two ago, totally different story.
Yeah.
You can't say that. He put the game plan in. Now
he wasn't there.
He was in his basement.
Hey man, he was with me, bro.
That's true.
Hey, I will say this. I'm a big fan of this. Like when you look at other businesses, other organizations, usually they have a succession plan, right? They have succession plans for CEOs. Hey, if this guy CFO leaves, we got a couple of guys we like outside their building, but we got a unique situation here. Let's get somebody lined up. I don't understand why they don't have that more often. If you got a head coach right now, why don't you identify somebody that you like, that you can kind of put on the staff and groom and put in a situation like
because somebody else likes that guy, they may steal him from you.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. But at least you have some data on the people, right? At least I would rather promote somebody that has already been inside my building, that knows what I like to do, and has a plan that I've already I was like, oh, okay, you sit down and I know assistant head coach isn't something that people use as a position like that, but for me, they do it in front offices all the time. The Guardians do it. Like, the Guardians ain't never hiring nobody outside of the Guardians offense. When was the last time they went and got somebody, it was Shapiro, and then it was
the front office.
Yeah, Shapiro, Antonetti, Chernoff. They keep the succession plan going.
Yeah.
I would like to see teams identify a person and say, well, maybe we can start bringing this guy up through the ranks and keeping them on the staff. So I don't know. It's just a different
Like somebody
way to
that
look at it.
wasn't brought in by the current head coach?
No, yeah, somebody that was brought in by the current head coach.
Okay.
Like,
well, if that coach stinks, why is that guy going to keep his job and get promoted?
well, listen. What I'm saying is, if you can identify if they have a specific skill set, because we
Right.
just talked about the circumstances.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you're the tight end coach, how much input do you got? I mean, if you're the running backs coach, how much input
Sure.
do you have? And I'm looking for innovative people. Like, I want to find some people that think about it in a different way and got an opportunity to at least sell themselves to me while they're in the building. I think sometimes when you just get rid of staffs, it'd be like, okay, Stefanski leaves, right? We still don't know what we're doing with the Browns this year. I don't know if Dorsey is going to stay. I don't know if Stefanski's going to call plays next year. If you're going to draft a quarterback, are you going to say it's fair to let Stefanski take the lead on this one? Because obviously, one thing Stefanski probably telling them is like, hey, I've never had an opportunity to go choose my guy. But then if he has a horrible year next year, do you want him choosing a guy and then you blow him out of here? Yeah. See, this is why it's nasty work, Bull. Yeah. It's nasty.
It's a tricky spot because you know what? If you decide to keep Stefanski, but you feel like, okay, he gets off to a bad start, he's on the hot seat, what if you drafted a quarterback and then you fire him?
Here's the deal. Ultimately, like in the NFL, I swear to God, if a coach or if a GM or not GM, an owner, excuse me, got a GM and a coach and literally said, no matter what, you're here 8 years. I think it'd be really hard for that team not to make the playoffs a few times in 8 years.
What do you mean? Why?
Just think about it from the standpoint of knowing you can build, knowing what you've got time to actually turn something in around, as opposed to you change every 2-3 years.
I know.
You just every time put yourself back, and you're trying to bring in these new people. There's continuity.
Is huge.
Is what works.
But it's the chicken and the egg.
Totally agree with you.
Do the Steelers have continuity
because they
have great coaches, or do they have great coaches because they have continuity? I think
they sort of go hand in hand, and I think when you have the continuity of the staff in the front office in that culture, then the players start to. I actually think maybe the coaches having that tenure longer may be more important than the players at first.
You know, Dustin, the thing that I take from his quote, though, that I think we can now all say is he told them we was going to go get Watson and he was going to sign off. That's what it was. Because when he says we're 3-10, I don't even know why we 3-10, but everybody cool. He signed that peace treaty early. He said, we're going to get Deshaun Watson. You don't really have a choice in it. Go sign him. Yeah. And they came back to him and said, well, to get him, it's going to take this bunch of money. And basically said, go ahead and do it. And now he's like, on the quarterback, we'll get through the season. We'll look at everything. That means I feel like he's willing to keep kicking the can.
With Deshaun? Or what?
No, they might not pay him.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if they said, we're going to restructure this deal where we can get some more money, and they may go get another quarterback.
No, I mean, they can't restructure Deshaun again. That'd be crazy.
If as the conspiracy theory goes, right? Yeah. The conspiracy theory goes, we're sending him home.
Yeah.
If
I saw your clip on Instagram, dude, you're a beast with that social media. Do you have a person for that?
That's good at the headlines.
Somebody did that. I don't know.
With all them clips you put at the bottom of the funny faces and stuff.
That was already on Instagram.
That's awesome.
It was already. So what I did is I just repurposed it. I just say, let me put this on there. I just do that.
Anyway, well done.
But thank you. I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that.
You got it, buddy.
Strong handshake. No, but the conspiracy theory is we're sending them to the crib. Well, if you're going to send them to the crib, I could send them to the crib and extend them and keep kicking the can down the road. If I was Deshaun Watson, would I take some more money? Yeah, I would. So the more money you extend and you keep messing with, the more money you have to make a move now. Well, and he's not in the building.
I think they're better off probably, just eventually drafting a quarterback, and then you're going to want to have money to pay that guy eventually, hopefully. But I don't know. We'll see what they do. One last thought, Mike, before we move on. I think part of the problem with hiring coaches is that I wouldn't know, and I never will know probably, what it's like to be a billionaire, right? There's very few of them. But I got to believe that if you're a billionaire, if you have that kind of money, you're probably less in touch with the average person. Like, you can't connect with regular people when you live that kind of life.
They're nowhere around
and
you.
So,
And no one's going to tell you what they really think.
exactly.
Right.
And so I think they have a hard time hiring coaches because I'm not sure they can really read people that way because they don't know what, like, they live in this la-la land that so few people live. Their life is so different that I don't know that they, like, I feel like I don't know what it is, but and maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I'm a very good judge of character, and I can read people very well. Like, when somebody comes into our business, I've been doing this 25 years now. Like, I meet someone, I'm like, oh, that guy, he's never going to go anywhere. And I feel like I've been right almost every time. And I'm not saying that would work for me hiring NFL coaches because I don't have that kind of experience. But, like, I feel like you have to have this feel for people that probably when you're a billionaire is harder. Now, if you're
I'll tell you this much. If I sat down with a coach for 5 minutes in an interview,
yes,
I couldn't guarantee you the guy's going to be a great coach, but I can tell you immediately if he's going to be a bad coach.
And, yes, you guys played. I feel like you would do a better job of hiring an NFL coach than a billionaire. Now, if he's a self-made billionaire, maybe he lived a normal life as a kid, maybe.
You know what they
but
do?
especially if he got daddy's money and he's never lived a normal life.
You know what they do, just before I got into this, in corporate America, as middle-level management, what they actually have you do now is the people that are going to be, you're going to be reporting to, you actually interview those people. So it's like interviewing your boss for the position. Right, and you give feedback and write these, things, and you send it up to the food chain or whatever. But it works very well because
you're like elected by your teammates.
It's like you're elected.
You're voted captain.
You're like, I like this. Because I know what I'm going to work hardest for. Right. I know what I'm going to respect. So, so they've been doing that in a while. I thought that was interesting too.
All right, we're going to talk with Jeremy Fowler more about this in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, so let's get on to our next Browns topic. It's brought to us by Built Rewards. Listen up, renters. Ever feel like you're stuck in a loop of rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air? It's time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. That's where Built Rewards comes into play. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, pay your rent and watch the Built points roll in. You can use your points to jet off on a dream vacation, put your points towards a hotel or airline flight with over 700,000 hotels and properties. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle, whatever that may be. You can pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built Points has been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guys and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. That is joinbuilt, joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL to start earning your points with rent payments today. So, Bull, very interesting topic right here because I think it's going to be a split panel.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Zach Rosenblatt, who covers the New York Jets for The Athletic, wrote this. Garrett Wilson expressed privately that if things didn't get better, he would want to stick around long-term following the team. Wouldn't want to stick around long-term following the team's dreadful 2023 campaign. Internally and externally, many have wondered when, not if, Wilson will request a trade. Many within the organization and around the league seem to believe it's only a matter of time until Wilson wants out, end quote.
Yeah.
The Browns have a first-round draft pick for the first time in 3 years. If Wilson was to ask for a trade and the Jets made him available for the asking price of a first-round pick, would you guys trade the Browns' first-round pick this season for Garrett Wilson?
Guys, when Mike first posted this, I said to myself, yeah, of course I would. That was my instant reaction. And then I thought about it. I said, no, I can't do this. The Browns, Garrett Wilson is worth the first-round pick. Yes, that's obvious.
I don't need to talk. Speak for me, please.
First of all, the Browns have to start drafting and developing. You can't just Garrett Wilson's got 1 year left on his deal, and then he's getting $30 million a year. The Browns are the second most over the cap in the league. They, unfortunately, because they've made some mistakes, the biggest one being Watson, they can't afford to pay Garrett Wilson $30 million a year starting in 2026. They just can't do it, and that's what he's going to get. He may not be, at this point, he's not, Justin Jefferson, he's not Jamar Chase, he's not going to get $40 million, but he's a top 15 wide receiver. And he's done it with crappy quarterback play. This guy's a star. I mean, he's going to be, plus, if you're him, like, do you want to go to the Browns? I don't want to go to the Browns. If he's asking to be traded, it's because he hates the situation. He's going to want to come here to a team with an unsettled quarterback situation? No, he wants to go play for a winner.
Talented as a guy, if you're a talented wide receiver like Garrett Wilson, and you've been on a crappy team,
right?
It doesn't matter where you go. The money's green everywhere.
Right.
If the money's the same or relatively the same, you want to win.
That's right. He didn't want to come here.
He's not going to want to come to Cleveland right now.
Chance.
Cleveland's quarterback situation will not be settled for years.
Right.
Period.
Unless they get lucky in the draft.
Okay. Yeah. When's that ever happened?
Never.
Certainly not the Browns.
No. Guys, so you would not trade for him also?
I would not, and your points are excuse me, your points are spot on.
Thank you.
100%. It's a no-brainer. He's worth a first-round pick. Give it a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The money, who cares? He's worth it. We can't do it.
No. If the Browns can't draft and develop players, they're never going to have success. You can't have every key guy in your team be a free agent.
It never happens. That never happens. Yeah. And this is, by the way, how the Browns have gotten to this point to some degree is because of guys like Nick Chubb, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. Well, I mean, Baker's not here anymore, but you had players that you drafted that turned out to be decent players. Joel Bitonio, guys that you actually could extend contracts to, which had never happened here in the past. It is happening now. But, all of a sudden we're going to just go get a Garrett Wilson here, and the team's not ready for a Garrett Wilson.
No. Go ahead, G.
Oh, man.
You want him bad, but you know we're right. I mean, that's what's happening here.
You bring up some good. The problematic part about it is, how do you guarantee that he signs, right? Like if he's guaranteed 5 years. This is third year, so he would play next year. That would be his fourth year, and then you're to his
you would have.
year.
That's true. There would be a fit. So, I assume they pick. Wait, he was a first-round pick, so
he was top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so he.
Fifth year.
Right, so he's got 2 years left.
He's got 2
I said
years.
one.
He got 2 years left.
Yeah, right. He's got 2. That's true.
And then you would still have to sign him to an extension. It'll probably be big.
That's true. It might even be more than 30 because it's 2 years. Plus, if they're trading him because he's demanding a trade, then they're gonna have to trade him to a place he's willing to go.
I mean, he did play at Ohio State.
What are you talking about?
What?
Well, listen, man. y'all are out of your minds. If Garrett Wilson requests a trade and the Cleveland Browns want to trade for him, the question is, would you trade for Garrett Wilson? 1,000% I would trade for Garrett Wilson in a heartbeat for the simple fact that he's on his fourth. You have him for 1 year. Fifth year option you'll pick up, and if you didn't want to pay him right there, franchise tag is there, so you got it for 3 years.
Yeah.
We ain't got our quarterback situated in 3 years, then we got a whole nother problem. I don't trust our team to draft no wide receiver in the first round and develop him because I haven't seen any other receivers being developed. The only way we're going to get a star wide receiver is because we traded for Jerry Jeudy. Guess what? We're going to trade for this wide receiver too. That's just what we got to do in the wide receiver room because we do not develop well out of the wide receiver. Okay. Now, every other position, you can sell me on. We might be able to get a second round offensive tackle and maybe develop him. We might be able to get a defensive end and develop him for a year or two. But the wide receiver position, we have not made it. We cannot do that.
I'll push back on that a little bit.
Before you push back, I want to congratulate.
During the show. I don't know,
man. They just want you. I told you I don't got it yet. I will talk to you when I get it. Congratulations.
Go Bucks, by the way.
We are signing Tyvis.
And we got a billionaire who tells you he don't care about no money. You know what I'm saying? He write the check now.
Tyvis was cooking right there. That's the fastest I've seen him move through topics. We signing him through Weave Nation. He's moving and ducking. He ducked all of your points. He convinced me on top of that.
To be honest,
firm handshake.
To be honest,
Thank you, sir.
I thought he only had 1 year left. He does have 2. That makes a little bit of a difference.
And then he dropped the franchise tag.
But the fact remains that Garrett Wilson is going to have a say on where he's traded, and there's no chance he's going to want to get traded to the Browns.
He played for the Buckeyes, didn't he?
That wasn't the question, would he want to come to the Browns or not?
I don't know why they keep asking that. That's why I reiterated and said, would you trade a first-round pick? Yes. The answer is yes.
That was some clean move. Listen, has been.
Let me ask you a question. Who's you? Is it me personally?
Well, if you were running the Browns, if you were Andrew Berry.
Well, that would specify that I'm running the Browns.
Look
No,
at
I would
this.
not trade a first-round pick. I mean,
What do you
is
think
he
real quick?
worth the first-round pick for, like, the universe? Absolutely. For
What do you think
anybody.
the chat says?
The chat?
What do you think the chat says?
90% yes.
Project Stockpile is in full effect.
If it's Browns fans, they say yes.
And
65% said no, they would not trade.
Wow.
first
Whoa,
round
we
pick.
got some smart fans on this show.
hey, listen,
Over 200 votes. 60,
Wow, that's a shock.
But-
63
well done.
now, but,
but you
60% no.
Well
but
done.
you know why they say no is because the intoxication of a first round pick is so high at this point.
It's a dopamine hit.
Because
The unknown is sexy.
It's exponential potential. You
That's
can
right.
get this guy you're going to draft. He saved the whole franchise, be a Hall of Famer, first ballot. You just thinking of all the great positions, and until you realize that number one pick. I remember the Cavs wouldn't give up the pick for Colin Sexton because LeBron wanted to get somebody else. He said, "But we got the Nets number 8 pick." And it turned out the Nets made the playoffs. We drafted Colin Sexton, and he's not even on the squad.
I got a buddy
Okay.
who every night does 30 $5 20-team parlays. Every night.
Hey,
Jeez.
it's the
Every
fun.
night.
It's the excitement of the parlay.
Yeah.
boy.
I'm telling
He's
you.
like a Browns fan with the first-round pick. I'm like, dude, why don't you just take $50 and bet on the Cavs to cover?
Yeah,
Like
right.
you win $45.
Right.
Nah, man, gotta hang in it. And then he hit like half of the bets. And I'm like, cash out, dude. No, man, got it. It's the dopamine hit of that, the idea, the thought of maybe hitting the jackpot.
That,
You know what?
When he's seen that 9,986, all you need is 3 more, cash out early, dog.
Wait a minute. You know what? Now that we talk about wide receivers, I needed to bring this up. Do y'all know that Jerry Jeudy is about to be second team All Pro this season?
Hell of a year.
I mean, he's balling.
I can't believe it. This man is about to be second.
Oh,
He's
second
fourth.
team All
He's
Pro?
fourth in receiving yards. That's equals second team All Team.
I don't know that he's going to be all
second
pro.
team All
It
Pro.
doesn't
Not
go
gonna be
strictly
second
by
team.
Yes,
yardage.
he is. He's
No, he's
fourth
not.
in receiving.
Oh, he'll be in the Pro Bowl, though.
He's a Pro Bowler 1,000%.
Hey,
Who would you put in front of him?
I think he got an outside chance. to
How
get
could he
1300.
not be? He's fourth in receiving.
He got an outside chance.
more than just receive. He's got 4
1300.
touchdowns.
He's only got
So-
4 touchdowns.
Well,
and the
It
Browns
goes
stink.
to show you when you're a talented guy and you step into a role and you got a gunslinger quarterback, you can put up some numbers, man. And he has. And he's played well. Like I've been very impressed with Jerry Jeudy. Never thought he'd be worth this contract.
Judy give 4 more touchdowns. Yeah,
frankly, I mean, listen.
he's second team All Pro. My eyes.
Yeah,
Let's give
you
some
know
credit
what?
to Andrew Berry.
Look at Bull.
Because when he got signed to the contract extension,
We tripped.
Yeah.
We're like, that is way too much money for a guy.
Yep.
And, I mean, Mark Schlereth thought I had a seizure over the
Yeah, he
thing.
did.
If you look at the top 10 in terms of yardage wide receivers, the only guys in the AFC are Chase, Judy, and I mean
But
Judy.
all pro doesn't care about AFC, NFC.
You know, it's just
all pro.
Yeah,
He's
all
definitely
pro.
a Pro Bowler.
Oh, he's a Pro
100%
Bowler, yeah.
He's not all pro, but he'll be a Pro Bowler. He's not
Yes.
gonna be all pro.
Why not?
If he gets
crazy?
Why not?
1,307 touchdowns.
Give
what
me
he got?
give me the 4
13
give me the 4 receivers
13
above me.
if he
Tyvus, here they are. Jamar Chase leads the NFL in yards and touchdowns. He's a
Chase Jefferson and Lamb are locks, so it's the 4th guy.
Who's the 4th guy?
Who's the 4th guy?
So would you rather have Judy with 944 and 4 touchdowns or McLaurin with 896 and 9 touchdowns?
And he's on a winning team.
No. Here's what I'm gonna say. I project him to get 1,300.
First of all, Mike, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I did.
First of
That's
all,
another
I would-
Buckeye, by the
I
way.
would never go against the Bucks.
Okay,
Scary
there you
Terry,
go.
go
By the way, the
Bucks.
Buckeyes are 6, 7, and 8 in the NFL in receiving yards this year.
That's amazing.
Jackson,
LSU
Jackson
that's
Smith and
LSU's
Jigba,
1
Terry
and 2.
McLaurin, Garrett Wilson, 6, 7, 8.
Three of the top 10 are Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yeah, the first 2 are both LSU.
LSU.
Wait, who's 6, 7, and 8?
Smith and Jigba, McLaurin, and Garrett Wilson.
Olave's have been hurt.
Yep.
Marvin, I don't know what they did to
The
Marvin
next,
out there.
but
Amon Ra also has 9 touchdowns and less than 100 fewer yards than Judy.
yeah, Drake London's got 8.
He's a Pro Bowl. He's not an All-Pro.
Feeding.
Which, by the way, is an incredible season for Jerry Jeudy to be the first time he's on pace.
Yeah, he's going to be a Pro Bowler.
They about
Yeah.
to feed
but he's
him.
not going to be an All-Pro.
They about to feed him.
How many
But
yards
hey-
does Jamar Chase have, you said?
1,300.
Oh, my God.
That's
He has
ridiculous.
200 more than anyone else in football and 8 more
He's
touchdowns.
going to
How
win.
is this guy-
He's going to win the Triple Crown.
How do teams not cover that guy? Like, I was watching the other night,
He gonna win the Triple Crown.
and I'm like, they're going to him in every crucial moment, and like it seems like he scores a touchdown every game.
Who?
Jamar Chase.
Oh, yeah.
How many touchdowns he's got?
He's got like 12.
15.
Okay. Well,
He
he got
got
crazy.
15 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Well, okay, so every game he scores at least one
How
touchdown.
many catches he got on the season?
He's got
93.
He's got 93
Who got the
catches,
highest?
1,319 yards. He's leading the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
Oh, he's going to win
he-
the Triple Crown for
he
sure.
doesn't have the
Who is he,
size.
Cooper Kupp?
He doesn't have the size of like a Randy Moss, which is those guys were like unicorns. This guy is just does it all.
You know what he does
Cooper Kupp
better
was
than
like
any
that.
wide receiver I can remember? Like, he'll catch a pass, and there'll be three guys around him, and he'll make one cut, and then he's gone.
He'll hit the
He just
gas.
goes past all of them.
That boy hit
and they got
the
no
gas
shot.
on people. I wish I was still playing. I just wanted to see how fast he really
Yeah.
is. He be hitting the gas on people.
The dude is so ridiculous that he promised the Make-A-Wish kid that he was going to do the gritty for him.
And he
Of course he does it.
pulled the Babe Ruth.
Of
Did it
course.
twice.
That was
It's
unbelievable.
so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
That was a cute story.
It was
with
a
that
great
kid,
story.
yeah.
It was an awesome
Well,
story.
we got
Yeah.
5 minutes before Jeremy Fowler is supposed to join
Yeah.
us. So let's talk Josh Naylor for a sec.
Yeah.
We'll squeeze this topic in. If you want to see Josh Naylor in person next season, it may be in Cleveland, it may not be. Regardless of where he's playing, you could use the GameTime app to get your tickets to see Josh Naylor in person. And now they have a new feature called GameTime Picks that filters out the fluff to show you only the best deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets with the GameTime Picks app. They get you all in pricing, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Make sure you get the best deal on the internet, or GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? It's game
Game time.
But we had a Guardians trade yesterday. Andres Jimenez.
Well, 2 days ago.
Oh, we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah,
2 days ago the trade happened. Is now a Toronto Blue Jay.
Yeah.
There have been rumors out there that the Guardians could also potentially trade Josh Naylor. But I'm curious, with so many talented free agent first basemen on the market, what is Josh Naylor's trade value at the moment?
It's not very high. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's a one-dimensional player. Now, when I say he's a one-dimensional player, he's a slugger and a run producer, but he doesn't do anything else. He doesn't get on base at a particularly high rate. He doesn't hit for a particularly good average. He doesn't run the bases well. He doesn't play defense well. So the other aspects of the game, he doesn't do well. He's excellent at that one thing. But he's only got 1 year left. He's injury prone because of his body type. And you have, as you mentioned, you have other sluggers out there that are more desirable. Pete Alonso is a free agent still. Christian Walker's a free agent still. Those other guys, Carlos Santana, Goldschmidt, and Rizzo, they're not at this point. They're not as good as Josh Naylor, but the other two are. I don't know why Walker's one and Alonso two. Alonso's I'd rather have Alonso.
Even I know that.
I was listing him by how MLB.com listed their top 10 free
It's
agents.
interesting. I guess because Walker's a better defensive player and Alonso's just a hitter, but Alonso's a better hitter. But and also Cody Bellinger is available in the trade market. Like there's other guys.
We're not getting none of them.
No. I'm just saying. So I think Naylor is if they now I spoke to someone that knows these things. He's not part of the Guardians organization, but somebody that's inside baseball, and he told me that he would be stunned if Naylor is not traded by the time the season starts. I think he's going to get traded, very likely. I think it's going to happen later in the offseason, but I don't know what they're going to get in return. I think as much as it sucks, it doesn't feel like they're going to change the payroll much. They have other trades they need to make. The lineup has to be improved. They've improved the rotation a little bit with that three-way trade they made with the Pirates. I don't know if they hurt the lineup by trading Andres Jimenez. Obviously, they hurt the defense because he's the best defensive player at second base in the game and one of the best defensive players, period, in the game. But they already needed upgrades in the lineup, and Josh Naylor's their second best hitter. So if they trade Naylor, which I get it because they don't want to sign him to an extension because whoever signs him to an extension is going to regret it because he's not going to age well probably. So it's a tricky thing. But his value is not that high. So it's a tough spot because it makes sense to trade him, but you don't want to just give him away.
I'm holding out for the Japanese pitcher that you talking. What's his name?
Roki Sasaki.
That's who the Josh Naylor thing, y'all been saying for a long time. I will miss the slugging in the lineup. Is Lane Thomas getting traded too?
He could be. Because he's only got 1 year left on his deal.
So
also.
if they trade Josh Naylor, who is his replacement? Oh, I know who it is.
Well,
it's
Kyle Manzardo's going to play first
Manzardo.
base next season regardless. Naylor's going to have to adjust to being a DH if he is here. That's part of the reason they want to trade him. Not only does he have 1 year left, he doesn't like DHing. And Manzardo.
I know somebody on the team that would love to be a DH. Big Christmas. Hello.
Well, Big Christmas will be a platoon player. But, listen, they need, if they're not going to spend money in free agency, they did a little with Shane Bieber, then they have to make other trades to get better, and they do need one big bat. They need one big bat, and if they trade Naylor, they need two.
I'm ready to make my bold prediction since I'm just undefeated in
Go
baseball.
ahead. Yeah.
Big Christmas is going to lead the Guardians in home runs next year.
Yeah, that's a big problem if he does. Because that means Jose didn't have a great year.
Tell you, man,
There's no way that guy's hitting 40 home runs.
You heard it December 12th. You heard it early.
Man,
Don't be shocked.
The Guardians is one of them teams like you get to the off season, it's just difficult talking about them. It's tough. It's tough because you're extrapolating and you're throwing names out there and you look at them and you realize you're not getting them names.
Although the truth is, last statement, no follow up as we bring in Jeremy Fowler. The Browns are very popular in the offseason and usually suck in the regular season. The Guardians are very unpopular in the offseason and are usually good in the regular season.
I'll give you that. That's correct.
There we go. Let's
true.
bring in Jeremy Fowler.
Yeah, let's do a quick read. We'll bring in our guest. You can tackle all your NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. We started the show discussing his article yesterday, and now Jeremy is here joining us to help us analyze it even further.
Hey, Jeremy, how you doing, man?
Hey, good, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's
Doing
good
great.
to have you. And, we obviously in your article there with Jimmy Haslam, we locked on to the statement about Jimmy saying, hey, Kevin Stefanski's going to be back, Andrew Berry's going to be back. There's the comments right there.
Yeah.
Even though it's been a terrible season, and he has a reputation for being impatient, our thought was, okay, he can say that now, but what if they're a total disaster the final 4 weeks? We're not sold that he's going to stand by that a month ago if things get even worse. How do you feel after talking to him directly?
Well, even going into that conversation, I felt fairly good about Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry coming back. Certainly it's you don't always speak in absolutes of these things. John Mara, the Giants owner, comes to mind. He said that he wants to keep Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, the GM, said that very publicly. If it's week 17 and MetLife Stadium's half full and the team has 2 wins, who knows, right? So.
Yeah.
You always want to leave that little bit of wiggle room. But that was my sense, even going into that conversation with Jimmy Haslam as he was walking out of the owners' meetings. It was a pretty quick conversation because a lot of times the owners go straight to their planes and leave town after the meetings. But I just called him for a few quick questions. And we were talking about the team and how he was perplexed by the 3-10 record against the backdrop of last year's 11 wins in the playoff berth. So, I brought up, do you feel like to fix things that are Andrew and Berry and Kevin Stefanski the right pieces in place? And he said, I do, we do, and those two are supported. So, certainly a vote of confidence, but you never know with these things. He didn't say definitively that they're going to be here for the next 2 years or 4 years or anything like that, but it was sort of confirmation for what I was hearing is that all signs are pointing to them being back.
Jeremy, how confident are you that those two, Kevin and Andrew Berry, are the right pieces and can make those decisions this offseason to fix things for next season?
Well, certainly they're two very bright people. I spent a little time in Cleveland a couple weeks ago. I popped into town on a Monday after the win they had, the divisional game. Which win was that? This might have been the Bengals win. No, the Steelers snow game.
Steelers,
Sorry.
yeah.
So that
Yeah.
Monday I showed up into town.
Yeah.
And, talking to some players in the locker room, like Joel Bitonio, a few others, they did say that they felt like Kevin Stefanski has connected with the locker room a little bit more than he had in the past, which I thought was interesting. I think as a play caller and a head coach before, he had to focus and exhaust a lot of his energy in that area. He has tried to relate to the players more. There have been some examples of him connecting with the guys, spending more time in the offensive line room, for example, being a little bit more vulnerable in his conversations with players. So I do think that he's tried to make changes. And so I think that can help long term. This is already a coach that's certainly proven worthy with 2 Coach of the Year awards. And so, I think that the national perception of Stefanski is still pretty good. It's hard to come out of a 3-win season. And certainly with the schedule, there's no slam dunk wins in there, so they could end the year with 3 wins. But I think, by and large, this is probably an aberration. I get that sense. There's certainly enough brain power there between Andrew and Kevin to pivot here. And it's not a full-scale rebuild. I asked Haslam that. He does not. He feels like there's enough talent where, even though they have a lot of needs, that they don't have to tear this thing down again. And look, Andrew Berry's very respected in general manager, executive circles around the league. He's known as a very bright guy with good ideas. So I think all that will prevail, and they'll give it one more go. And they just extended their contract, 5 or 6 months ago.
When it comes to the quarterback conversation, with Jimmy Haslam, he talks about how they'll assess it, down the line after the season ends. I don't think there's anybody here in town that thinks Deshaun Watson will ever take another snap for the Cleveland Browns again. And I get why he says that. You're not going to make us, even if he already has made the decision in his mind, you're probably not going to say it like in week, 16
right.
or 15. But when the season is over, what and where do they go at quarterback? Is Jameis Winston a viable option to be a bridge? Do they go to the draft? What do you see? What's your gut tell you after talking to Jimmy?
It's fascinating. I've been trying to ask people in and around the team on it. There's no easy answer. The Browns are very careful in what they say. Certainly they will have a full-scale strategy that they do not want to divulge right now. And they are. I do think there's a sense of hey, let's get through this year and then figure all this out. There's no easy answer because of the money attached. They can theoretically, there's nothing stopping them from giving him a blank check to go away if they wanted to cut him. I don't think they're there yet. And I just, certainly there's the notion, and there are some whispers around the league that maybe they'll just add a veteran quarterback or a draft pick or both and have more of a competition in the quarterback room instead of having a quarterback room designed to support Deshaun. They'll get some competition going. But I don't know how that would even work because he's coming off an Achilles tear, and I don't know that he would either want any part of that or be open to that. And maybe he doesn't have the leverage anymore to say that. But it's just that there's every door you open, there's a problem. There's just not a clear-cut path here, so it's just they're going to have to find the path of least resistance. My guess is they're going to work long and hard to see if they can draft the right quarterback. Rarely do you get a chance to be in the top 5 to 7 picks. It's not a great draft this year to need a quarterback. That's really the consensus around the league. Last year there were 6 guys in the top 12. This year the feeling is there's going to be a drop-off after probably the top 2, and some aren't even sold that those top 2 are at the level of some of the quarterbacks this year. So it's problematic, but I do think the Browns are going to sort of turn over every stone in that regard and say, okay, well, look, we're picking high again. We got our first-round pick since 2021. Let's make the best of it and look for a passer.
Speaking of that, Jeremy, you say, first round pick since 2021. Kevin Stefanski has not really had an opportunity to pick a quarterback. You look at Baker Mayfield was already here when he got here. He did the best with that. Most people say that Kevin Stefanski does a really good job of getting the most out of his quarterbacks. Do you think this is an opportunity that Kevin Stefanski does get to pick that quarterback and lead the charge? And or are there some specters or some people behind the scenes, and I'll throw the name DePodesta out there. Have you found out what he does yet? Have you talked to him? Do you have a beat on his whereabouts, what he does, or his job title, and might he play into the search as well?
Yeah, not exactly to the second part. I still don't know the full scale answer there. I'll stick with the quarterback part with Kevin. I mean, certainly he would be heavily involved in the decision. He has not picked a quarterback. He's had success with really every other quarterback. Deshaun's really the only player that he hasn't been able to maximize, I would say. Jameis is going to throw away some picks, but he's playing pretty well otherwise. He's got 3 300-yard games and 6 starts. And, they have a system and a structure in place with, some of the zone blocking schemes that they've had with Stefanski over the years where you're going to be able to run the ball. And quarterbacks around it have had success, whether it's Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield, list goes on. So I don't see any reason why they couldn't do the same thing and get the best out of him. That's what's so fascinating about Watson. And you bring in Ken Dorsey, in part, or the feeling is they brought him in to help expand Deshaun Watson with different principles of a more spread out attack, RPO stuff that's going to help him. And so they were trying to blend all that together on the fly while developing Watson, and then he gets hurt. So it's just hard to pinpoint what kind of direction they would go. I feel really safe saying the status quo is one avenue that they just won't take. Like, they have to do something different. There will be different quarterbacks in the room. There will be a whole new outlook.
Jeremy, let's wrap it up with a selfish question from me that our fans don't care about. Please tell me the Bengals are going to fire Zach Taylor at the end of the season, even though I know they probably won't.
I don't think so. But it's funny. I've had, sometimes coaches will text around or they'll text me like, hey, you hear anything on Cincinnati, or he might be on the hot seat? Like, there is, for some reason, that is going around a little bit in coaching circles.
Yeah.
But I don't expect anything. I'd be surprised. Now, I could see some staff changes maybe to sort of revitalize things behind the scenes, get some new input. But, look, that's one of the best offenses in the NFL right now, too. So I don't see it. They've got a good thing going with Joe Burrow and what they do with Taylor's offense.
I guess if Joe Burrow wants him out, they should fire him. But if Joe Burrow doesn't, then you can't do it. All right, fair enough.
He's pretty prized that kind of power.
Yeah. Jeremy, thank you, buddy. We appreciate it, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you to Jeremy Fowler for joining us. Thank you for Lily for helping us set that up, too. That was a last-minute addition. So shout out to ESPN for hooking us up and Jeremy Fowler for providing some extra context to that bowl. Let's talk a little Cavs after a quick word from Built Rewards. Real talk, guys. We've all been there before, feeling like we're just burning cash with rent checks. It's frustrating, but here's the deal. Built Rewards has figured out a way to make rent more rewarding. You can say goodbye to the money bonfire and hello to a renter's revolution with Built. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month you can pay your rent and watch the Built points roll in. You can use points to jet off on a dream vacation, put your points towards a flight or hotel. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties, you can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built Points has been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guys and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. That is joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. Make sure to use the URL you see on your screen so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL to start earning points with your rent payments today. On Friday, Max Strus is expected to make his season debut for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's been dealing with a ankle-foot issue for the first 20-plus games of the season. Tyvis, what are your expectations for Max Strus in his first game back from the Cavs? And then we have a second part of this question after.
Honestly, usually when guys' first games back, it's not like they're going to come out there. I'm not expecting him to go out there and drop 25 points or anything like that. But I do think that with this new offense, I think it does fit him. A lot of his style and what he likes to do, how the ball rotates, how you're on the move and things like that. I think when you think about him in Miami, he had a lot of success when that catch and shoot threes. I think he'll get a lot of those opportunities, and I think he'll fit perfectly with the flow of the offense. Only thing we question is the defensive side of the ball. Will he be at I'm guessing he's going to be at the 3, so he's going to be checking bigger guys. Want to see how that.
They're playing the Wizards, so.
Are they?
Yeah.
So he'll take the night off on defense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't this like an extra game that got added or something?
I think
it's the NBA Cup. If you don't make the second round, they give you 2 teams from your bracket that also did not make the.
Because I know we just got some season tickets.
Right.
We got 2 extra tickets, or 4 tickets for this game, which we didn't have before.
Right.
So
and the Wizards are the worst team.
They're terrible.
But this is the perfect game for him to come back.
Yeah,
then.
totally
So he'll see a lot of action, and I want to see him make a lot of shots. I think he will. I'm not expecting, like I said, I'm still not expecting no 25 points or anything like that, but I could see a nice little 14, 15 points in this game.
He's made a lot of money in this new contract. I think
Yeah.
it was a 4-year, $62 million deal. He's expected to be a big-time player for this team. I mean, how quickly does he get back up to speed with his conditioning and how many minutes he plays? I think he played 70 games last year. This is a guy who played a ton of basketball, different coach, of course, but you got to think that Kenny Atkinson would love and is excited to have him on the court. More spacing, more outside shooting. That's going to open things up for guys like Mobley and Allen in the middle. And also, Donovan, who's having a great year, is going to continue to have more opportunities to get to the bucket.
And you just add him to the mix, man. Just add him to the mix.
Yeah.
It ain't that serious. I mean, I'm not saying it like I'm like.
Who doesn't want to add a good player in the middle of the year?
A good shooter.
Come on in.
Better.
Hey, get your money off. See, that's what happens when you got a good team. When you got a good team and you making moves and you got guys performing well, man, you want to just get added to the mix and the fold and come in and get your minutes off. So, whether it's, I don't know if they're going to start him immediately or whatever the case may be, but whatever role Kenny Atkinson got for him, he's been able to maximize all their other roles. Isaac Okoro's been playing well. We talk about Ty Jerome playing well. Dean Wade has played well when he's been in the lineup. So anything that they've done, they just move guys around and guys that have gotten busy. So look and see what he's going to bring into the fold. I just want to see him come in and acclimate himself to what they're doing and keep rolling.
It's going to be fascinating to see because for the first time, is everybody else ready to go? Mike, is Dean Wade playing Friday?
Yeah, it should be a full complement of weapons for Kenny
So
Atkinson.
we've never seen this. Like, they've been playing 9, 10 guys. Well, now in theory, maybe it's 10. Like, obviously now Craig Porter Jr. is not going to really play. But what's going to happen to the minutes of some of these other guys like Ty Jerome,
that was the next part of the question. Who
Yeah, like
gets
what's
kind
going
of
to
the
happen?
short end of the stick?
And is he going to start? Do we know?
I believe he's going to start. Will he stay a starter? I think it's going to depend on how Kenny Atkinson best sees him fitting in.
We're not worried about chemistry because he's been part of the team. He's been here.
And players love him.
And players love him, as you say. So he'll fit in, but, it's his first time playing. It's a different system they're running, obviously, and it's his first time actually playing. So
I want to see how Kenny handles it. Like, because it was weird because when Jason said this, I'm like, I don't know if they still do this. He was like, well, they told him he was going to start. I'm like,
Who, Max Strus?
Yeah, they was like, yeah, he came here to start. I was like, well, that was under the last dude. I ain't got nothing to do with what we doing right now, dog. Like, I don't know if Kenny Atkinson gonna just be like, hey.
Wait a minute, who started at 3? Okoro?
It's changed. They
changed it
Well,
like
first,
5
at the
times.
beginning of the season, it was Dean
Dean
Wade.
Wade.
Then he got hurt, as he always does.
Does it really matter?
No.
No.
I mean, the dude got his bag
Yeah.
as a starter.
Some
He's
people-
going to play.
What
He's
you
going to play.
mean? Carmelo was went crazy when they
I
told
mean,
him he was coming off
that's
the
a Hall of
bench.
Famer. That's a Hall of
yeah.
Did you
Famer.
just compare Matt?
Yes.
He said didn't
That's a
matter.
silly comparison.
Timeout.
He said didn't matter. Yes, it does matter. It's the answer to the question.
Yeah, let's compare a Hall of Famer to a
saying.
Melo?
Max
I'm
Strus
just
is
saying.
a jag, man.
You asked, did it matter? Yes. The answer
It might
is yes.
to him, but Max Strus, I've used this term once before. I'll use it again. He's below the line. Nobody gives a crap what he thinks. Is he not going to be happy starting? That's his problem, not the Cavs'
Yeah,
problem.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the guys that are on the court with 90 seconds
that's
to
right.
play.
That's right. And if Max Strus is as good a teammate as we've heard he is, then he should have no problem coming off the bench if that's what Kenny Atkinson thinks is best for the team.
Totally.
Should be all about what's best for the team, not what's best for Max Strus.
So if you go back and watch how Kenny Atkinson used Joe Harris in Brooklyn, Max Strus isn't the pure shooter that Joe Harris was.
He's not even close, is he?
Not as a pure shooter, but he does a lot of other things that Joe Harris could only shoot. Max Strus has a little playmaking off the dribble. When we sat down with Kenny at Media Day,
Yeah.
I asked him, hey, do you foresee Max in the Joe Harris role, which it's not the same offense they ran in Brooklyn, but the role is similar. They don't have that currently. Well, Sam Merrill, but he doesn't do a lot of other stuff. He said, yeah, but Max does more, so there's another layer that we weren't able to unveil for Joe Harris. I'm fascinated to see what that extra layer is. And 2, can you unveil it in the starting lineup when Donovan, Darius, and Evan have the ball as frequently as they do, which is why I
Right.
think at the end of the day, Max Strus actually is going to fit better with the second unit alongside Karras and Ty Jerome than he would with
good
Donovan
point.
and Darius.
I like that point. Okay, so let's get down to this. Unicorn Evan Mobley, if anything's messing with that, gotta go. If it's messing up that 41 and him shooting these step back threes, I don't want to see it. You got to go to the second unit.
He ain't doing no step back.
Hey, bro, listen, Evan Mobley,
step back.
he hit a step back. You didn't see them highlights? This
No, he missed the step back, but he took it. We were happy. he
Thank
took
you.
it.
I'm about to
Hey,
say,
listen.
he did
Hey,
not
I thought he
make
took
no
a step
step
back
back
three,
three.
Mike.
Yeah, he did.
It's the same thing.
I wasn't even gonna fight it.
When you pull up, and he hit 8 threes, one of them is automatically in my mind a step back. One of them counts.
I
So you
mean,
just take which
the
one
way
you want.
he was hitting that night, he should have did the James Harden double step back.
Is he already a better shooter than Giannis?
Who?
Evan Mobley.
Evan? Yes.
And you a Giannis guy. I
Yes.
was expecting you to say no. Can you imagine that? We would have never said that a year ago.
I would have.
Ever.
He was a better shooter
think
than
he was a better
Giannis
shooter than
last
Giannis.
year.
Yeah,
I
he was
wouldn't
better
have
last
said.
year.
I wouldn't
I'm pretty
have
sure I'd
said
have had that take from day one.
Look, everyone pulling like this, man. If
No.
anything that messes that groove up, if that person that's in that starting lineup, Kenny is telling them, "Hey, dog,
I can't believe
you just got to rebound."
I think
and
Dean
play
Wade and
hustle.
Isaac Okoro are better fits for the starting lineup
too.
because they're defense first guys.
and don't have to run no
They,
plays.
they
for
bring
him.
great
Right.
energy to start the game.
Yeah.
You know, you want that immediately.
Yeah.
Tracy.
And
And by the way, if it doesn't work, this guy, we think he's a great coach, right?
Right.
I mean,
I'm gonna trust him.
We're putting our faith in a guy
Yes.
that's got, what are they? Are they 20-3 or still, or what are they? 21?
1 and 3.
3 and
No, 4.
4.
I
They
can't
lost to
wait.
the Hawks twice, the Celtics,
Right.
and the.
So,
I can't wait till
21
this.
and 4.
They drop that little graphic of the starting five. It's gonna say Strus.
No, Strus is going to start. I'm telling you, Strus
They
will
gonna start tonight?
Or tomorrow.
No, tomorrow.
Put it on everything.
I've never in my life had a
You gonna
team
say-
that plays this many games and I expect to win every game.
I know, right?
In my life,
They
as a
go-
fan.
I was
Never.
kind of. What was y'all kind of? I was kind of. I was mad watching the Heat game a little bit, but then I didn't want to be that guy.
I was
I'm
low-key
like-
kind of mad too, but I
kinda
was also
salty.
like, they're probably going to find a way to win. And they
Joe-
kind of did at Lady, man, and
Joe
they didn't play
Varden-
well at all.
Joe Varden and Jason both called it a schedule loss.
Yeah, it's the South Beach flu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Early game in Charlotte, you get to Miami on a Saturday night.
That's true.
For the
They were-
early game
they
on
were
And
Sunday.
the Heat always play us well.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Dustin, you've been to a
yeah.
ton of games this year.
Yes.
Who do you think, because Bull mentioned earlier, they play 10 guys now. Now you add Strus. I guess they could play 11, but who do you foresee kind of getting their minutes shrunk here with Strus back in the mix?
Samuel Merrill.
Yeah, I mean, Sam. I mean, here's the thing: is like all these role players have played so well.
I know.
It's really going to be a delicate balance. You almost kind of got to play like ride the hot hand, don't you? A little bit.
I think so.
Kind
And
of like
guys will be missed games.
Are you?
and it,
Are
know.
you
kind
saying
of like the
that?
Patriots backfield when Belichick was there. You kind of play who's going to be going.
Never
Are
good
you
for fantasy
insinuating
purposes.
that Max Strus will become just a glorified role player?
No,
on the
no,
bench?
no. It's multiple guys that are going to lose minutes because he's going to play 25, 30 minutes, maybe, eventually.
You know what just is messed up? I'm gonna take up for these guys, man. I'm naming them the Backstreet Boys.
The
Listen,
the white boys.
it's messed up that when Strus come back, they got to pick a brother to take out the lineup because the minutes that's up for grab is either Dean Wade's, the Vanilla Wolf himself. You got Sam Merrill, right? So
George
that's 2.
Niang.
George Niang,
Yeah.
that's 3.
Is he all white?
Ty Jerome is 4.
He's not white, though.
He's not
Ty
white.
Jones.
But,
He's not
we
white.
count. But he's the lead singer. He can pass.
We're gonna have the race draft.
Yeah,
Isn't
like
he
so we got
light-skinned?
5.
Wait, Ty Jerome is black?
I thought he was
He's half.
light skinned.
he's light skinned. He's light
mixed.
skinned. So you got 5. I name them the Backstreet Boys. And now Strus is coming back, and he like, well, listen, I'm the leader of the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
One of y'all got to sit down. So I'm thinking it's gonna be Sam Merrill.
So who's losing minutes, Mike?
Sam?
I mean, let's say he's going to play, first couple games he'll play less, but eventually he's going to play what, 30 minutes a night?
No, because, I mean, Mitchell's only playing 32.
Okay, so 25 minutes a night.
25-ish. I think Merrill, unfortunately, is the one that gets the most minutes cut, but he'll cut into a little bit of Jerome, a little bit of Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dean and Niang, they're big. That's not the same
Yeah, it's
position,
a-
so
okay.
they're in their own rotation, maybe slightly, but I think Isaac, I think Merrill the most, and then
Like
a
how many
little
minutes
Jerome.
a night is Merrill playing right now?
Right now, let me pull that up real quick.
Like, does he
Merrill's
go
playing-
completely out of the rotation, Merrill?
He cannot go out of the rotation.
Merrill's playing 20 minutes a game.
That's
so
a lot
he
of
goes down to
minutes.
what, 12, 10?
I think you put him in if he's hitting threes early. He continues to play. If he's cold early, you kind of figure out if he has it or not. But I'm looking at the minutes right now. No one on the Cavs is playing 32 minutes a game. Mitchell's at 31.9.
That's great.
Which is great.
Fresh.
Levert's playing real quick. Let me just run through these, Tyvis.
Yeah.
Levert's playing 24.5. Dean Wade's playing 22. Okoro's playing 21. Niang's playing 21. Merrill's playing 20. Jerome's playing 19. And then you lose all the Craig Porter Jr., Jalen, all those extra minutes.
Yeah. Hey, listen, this is a good problem to have.
It's a great problem.
It is. It is.
Is Tristan Thompson the Udonis Haslam?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's become the mascot.
Okay.
He's the mascot. He's
Except
not.
he left for a while before he came back.
Yeah, he did. You know,
Did Udonis ever leave? He never left, right?
no, he didn't leave.
No.
No.
Full-time lifer
Is
in
he
Miami.
still on the Heat? No.
Now, he's
Kevin
not-
Love's still on
was
the
it-
Heat.
I think
I'm not
last
going to
year-
lie. I didn't watch the Heat Cavs game. It was the first game I missed since like the second or third game. I didn't watch any of it. So I don't remember.
I swear Udonis Haslam's been on the Heat since I
Forever.
was like in 7th grade.
Yeah. No, is Kevin Love
Right.
still? Is Kevin Love still on
Kevin
the
Love
Heat?
still
Yes,
with the
and
Heat.
he's an interesting target for the Cavs.
No.
I'm telling you.
Can he still shoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's on a very, very reasonable contract.
They're looking for
put a
an
little weight back on him.
They're looking for an SWD.
He a shooting.
Shooting white guy.
Shooting
White
close.
dude.
I
White
mean,
dude.
we
Stiff
got
white dude.
Stiff white dude.
we
Yeah.
got 5 with the coldest. Like if we send the Backstreet Boys to
Why
the
do
Y, they're running everybody off.
None of our white dudes are stiff.
No.
That's
why they got flavor.
The Cavs may have more athletic white dudes than any team.
Than
in the
any
NBA.
team. Like they ready to go. Like they're not like think about it. You got Ty Jerome and your boy Max Strus at the guard. They're almost the same player, is they not?
The shooting.
Jerome's a little more of a creator. Strus a little more of a shooter. But yeah, in a similar vein.
The shooting in the NBA is messed up. The NBA. I don't care what nobody say.
Everybody too good?
No, everybody shoot now. You got
Wasting
you got Ja Morant talking about I ain't dunking no more. Like what is that?
Oh, he tripped.
Anthony Edwards was known for these posterizing dunks.
Yeah.
10
And
threes
he's a
game.
shooter now.
Hey, that's on them.
Like
It's a
what?
lot
do we-
safer to shoot than go try to dunk on somebody.
But it takes the
On your body.
It's the excitement. It's gone.
I know, man.
I wonder what their numbers are. They numbers high this year?
The NBA ratings are down.
Man,
big
I
time.
saw a
so.
video. You may have saw this on social media. It was one of a viral video. It was like, I don't know, a stretch of like 2 minutes in a game, Lakers game, like a week or two ago. Where,
Yes.
you saw it? Where it was
That was
the
awful.
worst basketball.
Oh my God.
The most unaesthetically pleasing thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was
And
just a bunch of threes that missed.
bad shot.
Yeah.
Chuck, LeBron, Chuck,
Yeah.
LeBron.
It was
It
awful.
was so bad. And I know it's one clip.
Yeah.
But it does feel like the game at times can be that
I've
stagnant.
been saying it for years. I miss the post play. I find this boring.
I get it that the scoring goes up, I guess, because the volume of threes that we're shooting. But man, the game is tough to watch when it's like 45 threes, and I mean you make
There's no
40% or
post-play.
30% of them.
Change it in 2 seconds. Make
Yeah.
3-pointers worth 4 and 2-pointers worth 3. Then
What
the
about
math changes.
About half court shots. Got to start shooting them.
Those are 5.
You know that
Rocket
Dame
Jack.
Lillard would be out there like shooting.
Oh
them.
yeah. Now everybody would be.
Yeah.
All right, Bernie's in studio.
Bernie!
Let's send it to Michael.
Let's
Bring
do a
Bernie
read.
in.
We'll bring in Bernie. Guys, if you want to see the Browns this weekend take on the Chiefs or the Cavs on Friday take on the Wizards, you better be using the GameTime app to get your tickets. It is the easiest and most simple way to buy tickets online. And GameTime right now is a brand new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. And with GameTime's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it?
Game
It's
time.
Game time.
You know, my wife, as we bring in Bernie Kosar here, my wife said to me this morning, she says, "What's going on the show today?" I said, "Well, Bernie's going to be in studio." And she said to me, "Is Bernie Jewish?" And I said, you know, unfortunately, he's not. Because I'm like, we need one good Jewish quarterback. There are none. The best Jewish quarterback, well, Sid Luckman, but that was 1,000 years ago.
BYU kid, right?
What's that?
Isn't there a college quarterback?
Yeah, he's called the BYU.
BYU, yeah.
Isn't that odd that a quarterback of all colleges goes to
bizarre.
BYU,
So
Jewish
bizarre.
quarterback? But I'm like, everybody probably thinks you're Jewish because your name is Bernie. That's a lot of most people named Bernie. You're Jewish.
I got asked a
We
lot.
want you in the club, Bernie.
Well, I'm a little down on Catholicism and the Catholic Church right now, so I'm open. I'm a free agent right now from some of the past scarring and that.
Yeah.
And actually, you mentioned Sid Luckman.
Yeah.
I don't want to give my ex-wife too much credit, but her family lineage is related to the great
really?
Sid Luckman.
Oh,
yes.
that's funny.
Bernie, let's ask the real question here.
Yeah.
We're playing the Chiefs. Taylor Swift probably going to be in town.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be in the box with her.
Oh yeah, Bernie knows her.
You know what?
like
Paul
close friends.
Zadati, the lead guitarist, is coming to do a little of the pregame. I think that's been announced, and I hope it has been. If not, I think I just said it. But Paul, being from Cleveland, being their lead, the lead guitarist for many years with Taylor, I think is doing a little pregame stuff.
Oh, nice.
From on the weekend and that. But you think about it, you guys from traveling and stuff. The reality, and I don't have any inside scoop on it, but the reality when we travel to other teams and playing, that Travis comes in, probably the Chiefs get in at 3-4 o'clock. We have meetings and stuff and curfew at 11, and then they ship us out right after the game. So the reality that that you have time to hang out isn't really there. So I think the expectation that she's going to show for a 3-10 football game in 0-degree weather.
Yeah. This is a wild question. This has nothing to do with nothing we ever talk about. Who's the most famous person you got in your phone?
Oh my God, he's got so many.
You know what? I've been really blessed. I don't know because I've had my phone hacked, so somebody else has a really good database right now too.
Are there any presidents in there?
I've been super blessed too.
He's not spilling the beans.
I've been all of them. I've met all. I mean, that's one of the perks of being, whether you're a D or R, and I know it's super sensitive right now, but I mean, to be honored to have met just about all of them since Ronald Reagan. Wow. It's been super
so
cool,
flex.
man.
You matter.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah,
You definitely matter.
Literally, to go to President Reagan, the Bushes,
Wow.
both of them, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
It's really an honor to get those opportunities.
And he pulling up on us. And he in our studio.
Yeah.
Bernie,
Shout out to you.
I'm curious. Yesterday, Joe Burrow talked about his home was robbed when he was at Monday Night Football in Dallas. And we've seen this a few times lately with players' homes getting broken into while they're on the road. These guys, especially the quarterbacks, are such big celebrities. You know where they are, right? And he talked about he was feeling very upset about his privacy being, because there was some girl there and the whole thing got made out of it. Obviously, there wasn't the coverage of things when you played, but did you worry about things like that, your security and stuff like that when you played?
So I've been hitting the head a lot, so I'm still stuck on the last question. Okay. So
yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I didn't want to just drop names, but I mean, back in the day, my house was secure because President Reagan was cool and let me take a nap in the Lincoln bedroom. So
are you serious?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun back
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Did you find the secret JFK tunnels at the White House or what?
No, I was napping in the Lincoln bedroom.
This guy just passed out. This is crazy.
That ain't
That's breaking news.
This
right
is
there.
crazy.
Bernie slept at the White House.
That's crazy. Hey, you got to pause that. You got to.
That's true.
That sounds wild.
It do sound crazy.
That sounds crazy.
He had done the movie The Gipper.
Yeah.
And I actually got to throw him a few passes in the Oval Office. And
How was he? Do you have good hands or?
Well, I'd like to say the throw was perfect, bro. It dropped right in his pocket. I mean, I'm not hurting the president.
Your friend.
I'm asking him if President Reagan had good hands catching the ball. You don't have to make something perverted about that.
I mean, you got to add something to that.
Let me get us back on track. Bernie, obviously.
Wait, hold on.
Hey,
Let's get back to my question.
But to the Joe Burrow one, I actually saw his interview. I saw Tua's. I'm down in Florida now with some of the stuff that health and wellness wise with some of the hurricanes and dolphins that we work on with that. And that's actually sad what it's going on.
Yeah.
And you tend not to make PR of it because it tends to bring more of it on you.
Yeah.
And heck, I'm still going through this to this day. I mean, when I'm out and showing social media, doing things like that you think is cool, and then my house gets hit, not as bad as Burrow's, and I don't have the disposable coin in there anymore, and I'm being older. Most of my stuff has been stolen already, so the choice of what you got to steal is limited. And I say that in levity, but that's really the truth. I've been shook down so many times. My stuff's been clipped. It ain't even worth stealing from me anymore. There's
Leave
not
Bernie
much
alone
shit in there, okay? But literally, it's a shame that it's happening in that magnitude. And those guys got real stuff in there on top of their families and stuff. And we're not capable. I mean, we're capable of taking care of ourselves with good teammates. On the field. And that doesn't translate to off the field. And I'm a good example of that. I could take care of my teammates on the field. It's more challenging off the field. And unfortunately, that's a big thing.
Isn't that how Sean Taylor died?
Yeah.
Sean,
yeah. Somebody was robbing. He was supposed to.
He wasn't. They
Joe
didn't.
Jaravicious.
He was supposed to travel.
God hit it a couple times at night. Sean, look, God, we love us. Not just because he's a Cane, but he was a great guy. Well, and for him, he wasn't supposed to be there. He thought it was a bye weekend, and he happened to just come there.
Will Smith, right?
Will Smith.
That was a car.
But he got into a fight. I mean, it wasn't his house getting broken into.
It was an altercation in vehicles. It's super sad, man. Let's not talk about sad things.
Let's get on the light up. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns.
Perk us up.
Before we go to, sorry guys, before we go to the Browns, I do want to ask Bernie because he knows these guys. Belichick, Lombardi going to the Tar Heels, man. It's a crazy story. I'm intrigued by it.
Me too. I mean, and just to take the Canes perspective as a U guy in the ACC and stuff, from the overall college football fan and the way college football is altering and it is changing, I think they're going to crush it at North Carolina. I think he's going to be exceptional down there. I think it's exceptional for their program. I think it's exceptional for the kids. And he's going to put together a high-end professional football team.
If this were 20 years ago, this would be impossible because you couldn't build a team overnight. And Belichick now can do that.
Yeah.
I said to somebody yesterday, I'm like, I think he'll have success because this college football is so much more like the pros than it's ever been in terms of roster management. You got to allocate funds, resources to certain players, to certain areas of the program. And that's what they're used to. Lombardi's used to that. Now, you get your younger people, so that's a little bit different, but still a similar kind of setup.
And it's even better for these guys because, like in the real pros of the NFL, you actually got contracts and salary caps you got to live by. In college right now, you could wipe away your sins if you sign the wrong guy.
Right.
The next year, you could undo that.
Does North Carolina have the money to compete?
Oh, they're going to have. North Carolina's loaded.
You ever been to Chapel Hill?
And
no.
It's beautiful.
They got a guy named Michael Jordan.
I was about to say,
they're gonna support the NIL program, and I believe that one of the things with the NFL for these guys, why they kind of screw up, is you only get one pick in the first round. Now these guys could snag whoever they want, so they could take multiple top tier guys and Bill and I think Mike Lombardi are going to do a really good job of finding those guys.
Nobody thought Colorado would be good.
Right.
I mean, they've been bad forever, and Dion, obviously different style than Belichick, but turned it around.
But they're not championship level.
I think
they were damn near playing in the playoff.
Yeah. Is it true?
Their win total was Their win total this year was like 4 wins.
Yeah,
they won 9 games.
That is amazing.
It's kind of crazy.
Amazing. Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders is special.
Is it true that Bill got in his contract that when he's gone, the job goes to his son?
I don't know. I know there was rumors about that.
So I don't know if it's in the contract, but I could see, hey, that's the type of stuff you could pull off now. And
see, but my thinking behind that is, What if he did this, signed this, NFL job opens up, he wants it, boom, he takes it, his son takes over North Carolina, he never coaches there.
I don't know.
I think he coaches there. I think Belichick.
Wouldn't that be unbelievable? Mastermind move.
Yeah.
I personally think that this is a move by Belichick to cement his legacy as the greatest football coach
right,
of all time.
Right, yeah.
Right, because if he has success
Because
in North
the
Carolina,
Saban argument is Saban's the greatest, obviously college football coach of all time. Also, you can make the argument greatest football coach of all time, although he had the year and a half in Miami.
which was a disaster.
We know that. But this is a chance for Belichick to prove that I can do it at any level.
Yeah, I think
Urban Meyer also.
I do believe Bill could do it at any level. His attention to detail, just why I believe Nick Saban was head and shoulders above the rest of us, is he can handle the macro and the leadership, but this at the end of the day, especially you as the DBs, bro, he just knows footwork, angles, where to touch, where to grab, where to hit. And one of the things that's, I believe, missing in college, high school, and pros now is the attention to detail of where to put your hand placements, where your foot placements is. God, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, they're the man with that
And for those who are saying he can't relate to young people, he's dating a college student. So, he's with it.
A couple things. I don't know why I got so many takes on this. I'm excited about this whole thing. But, when it comes to Belichick, so many of these coaches, I talk to them all the time, every week. Yeah. A lot of coaches in college football are scared to coach guys because if you push a player, the guy may leave.
Right.
Do you think Belichick's going to be scared to coach an 18-year-old kid hard? Get your ass out of here. I'll find somebody else.
Exactly.
That's
Don't
how he'll
come
do it.
here if you're not going to be coached hard. That'll be told up front. That's a good point. And you're right. A lot of guys now were afraid. I'm afraid to yell at my kids. They'll block you. You're gonna yell at a football player. Oh, I can't yell at them. They're gonna leave.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say about this, and then we can talk some Browns, is that when people look at Belichick, stop reading, and coaches in general, stop going to Wikipedia and be like, oh, he's 72. Bro, I played tennis a month ago with a guy, and I said, are you 60 yet? He goes, try 75. What? I mean, so my point is the age don't matter. The dude's into the game. He's healthy. He's sneaking out of dorm rooms with these young chicks.
See how he managed his curfew.
The guy's 70 years old doing the walk of shame.
Yeah, that's
you
crazy.
think this guy can't go out and coach some kids?
You got to get a driver. Get you a driver, Bill.
Hey, is it a walk of shame north of 70 though, or a walk of pride?
I think it'd be
that's a pride belt right there.
It's creepy and impressive at the same time.
You're assuming it worked.
He's getting some. He's
I don't know. I'm excited
taking
about
some little blue pills.
I'm excited about
honest
UNC
about it.
football.
All right, let's get to the Browns here, Bernie. Obviously, it's not exciting to talk about them because they're horrible. But in this last month of the season, I want to ask what they have to play for. You didn't play on a lot of bad teams. You were mostly on really good teams, so you weren't in this situation. But what do you do? How do you motivate yourself in this final month when there's nothing to play for, at least in terms of the standings?
Yeah, the attempt at motivating yourself, and I just thank you, God, that I didn't have this situation a lot of times to where this became a routine. It's tending to become a routine here the first 24 years of this new century. Now we're a quarter of a way through it and still talking about similar things like this.
Yep.
From a coaching perspective and a player perspective, it's job preservation right now. You have to have, yes, it's personal pride, but even if you don't have personal pride in what you're doing, you have to have professional selfish pride. Look, I like coming to see you guys and doing this show. You want to show up and be good and intelligent so you can keep doing the show. You want to keep playing professional football and have Tuesdays off and making north of $1 million a month. Well, then you got to really suck it up and play. And the holidays are a time when the brain, I take a little bit of offense. You guys haven't done it, but there's been some of us older guys that have said a couple weeks ago, hey, we're proud of the way the team's playing. We're proud of their effort. Oh, heck, we're pros, okay?
Proud of the effort.
I'm not proud of it. The effort should be there. That's a given.
Yeah.
But, the last couple weeks, we've seen awesome effort. I believe we'll see awesome effort again this week. It tends to dissipate, though, right as you get to New Year's and Christmas and when you're able to start flying out. And that's those last 2-3 games, you don't want to see Myles Garrett get an Achilles or something bad. But as guys from an organization, you want your stars to get through it. But yet you got to have guys. Most guys aren't going to be here next year. I mean, you're gone. Okay, so you need to really make them want to keep you, so that you could show you're part of the solution, not part of the problem. And right now they're looking for people that are part of the problem. So you got to show that you're part of the solution.
Would you bring back Ken Dorsey next year, or would you sort of revert back to Kevin Stefanski? Given if you say I'm going to bring Jameis Winston back, right? If Jameis is back, do you think they'll revert back to Kevin Stefanski, or do you think Ken Dorsey will still be here?
So good question, fair question. I really think it depends on how the draft position is and what we're going to do at quarterback. I am all in on Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Okay, I believe they're 1, 2, or 3. So for us right now, our record says we're the 8th pick in the draft. But 1 or 2 keep losing, and some other teams win, and you get it close, and you have a chance for those guys. That's one set of offense that I really believe. Then it's imperative that we know what our personality is offensively. So know who our quarterback is, young-wise, what you're going to do. And if you got a Shedeur Sanders, that may be different than the me mode, me and the Joe Flacco type mode. Cam Ward, I'm not exactly sure if he would have to go all shotgun like he has at the U. I'm not a fan of all shotgun, so I absolutely think that Cam should alter his game into some under center stuff that I believe the Browns, Ken Dorsey, and Kevin Stefanski system would be great at from that perspective.
Do you want to see DTR at some point this season?
So I said last week on the show, yes is the short answer. And I did say last week on the show, and been saying, I'm really impressed with how Jameis Winston has played. So, yeah, I want to see DTR. Yeah, I've seen, and I like what Jameis has done. Yeah, the interceptions are there. But he makes us look like a real offense for the first time this year. And I am so into not picking a young quarterback, okay, and putting him to be like Caleb Williams, the play right off the gate. And I believe that I had better success because I didn't play till week 6. Patrick Mahomes missed his whole first year, didn't play. Tom Brady really didn't play. Rodgers, Love. So that's so to have a guy like Jameis that's there to bridge that, and or DTR, and you can't bank on DTR unless we played him some these last couple games. So maybe it's not this week, obviously, but I would give him a couple weeks shot at seeing what he does, just so we know.
Lamar also didn't play right away. It was into his first season. Now, Burrow played right away, so did Josh Allen. But anyway, I want to play this clip, Bernie. Speaking of quarterbacks.
But we lose more quarterbacks than we gain with that early play, and we can't afford to.
You're 100% right.
You know,
especially if you play them. Like there are some guys probably that are ready to go right away.
Yeah, you maybe, but you'd rather err on the side of being a little tardy because we're not looking like even 2025 we're a Super Bowl team.
And the Browns have, it feels like, have forced guys in there.
Yeah, not just the Browns, but
but a lot
you're
of
right.
teams,
We have, and when you do that, look at the Bears that did it with Trubisky, a mentor high school guy. I don't want to see that with our team, and I get bluntly, I don't like seeing it with young quarterbacks.
It feels like it happened with Bryce Young. He's finally starting to come out of it a little bit, but definitely.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah,
put him on a bad team in a bad situation with no offensive personality, and it's a recipe for disaster.
I want to play a clip for you, Mike. Do we have this clip?
Yeah, we do.
So your buddy and our buddy Leroy Horde was on with us yesterday, and I thought
he doesn't have an earpiece. He's not gonna be able to hear it.
Oh no!
You set it up. You set it up and everything, bull.
Well, all right, we can't play it. Leroy,
was it edited out? Is that why we can't play it?
No, you don't have an earpiece.
You can't hear it because you don't have an earpiece. But so let me kind of sum up what Leroy said. He made an interesting point about Jameis, and said his biggest problem with Jameis is that he feels like that Jameis doesn't have a feel for what type of game it is. You know, in other words, sometimes you got to throw 1,000,000 times and throw for 500 yards or 400 yards to win like he did in Denver. But there are other times when you play in the Pittsburgh Steelers and a more, like they have a better defense, a more conservative offensive approach, that you got to be able to take that check down more often and not look to force the ball down the field as much. And that Leroy thought Jameis just didn't have a feel, and then he got impatient and forced things in that game, and that's what leads to a lot of his turnovers.
So I love how Jason handles himself. He threw for 497 yards against Denver, and what was the first thing he said was, damn, I didn't play good. I could have played better.
Yeah.
He played really great against Denver. And then I love, albeit there are definitely issues in the Steeler game I didn't like and stuff. We all didn't. But I love, again, how he went right up front. God, I was too tentative. I didn't want to make some mistakes. And then by not making mistakes, I missed throws. And I had a couple picks. And, again, I feel like I'm his marketing rep right now. I actually liked his second interception. Okay, the people were like, oh, there's Jameis being Jameis again, throwing it down the field.
Sean King said the same thing.
God, it was a cover 3, hit up the seam. Like, that's... I like Elijah Moore, and okay, so I really like him. But that's something where me and my receiver would really understand coming out of that break, coming around the hook slot guy. Okay, before your corner and safety get over, I actually, you should be turning your head and boom, the rock's on you. That wasn't as bad a throw as people think, and I see that throw, and I love that. And down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, you can't. That's when I actually loved what he did, because most of us still would check it down. Okay, let me load my stats. Okay, we'll lose by 1 score. I'll get a score in there.
Right. That's exactly what Sean said, by the way.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, most of the cues. So we know how to hit the check down and manipulate it down, and while they're playing that passive cover 3 like that. But then we lose by 1 score, and that still made me sick. So I love how he actually took a shot with it. It held up. That holds up with the coverage. That's an excellent read. I know it's picked, so the result sucks, but it was really a good throw. And man, working with receivers, and I like our receiver coach, Chad O'Shea. Bend that baby in there, because in the old days, you safeties were allowed to wipe us out, okay? But now you're not allowed to even touch us. So I could throw it right there, and you're not getting decapitated. So catch it.
Well, let's face it. Also, they're playing DB because they can't catch.
They get decapitated.
Best athletes play DB, buddy.
And if you do, you get 15 yards, though. That's even better for me.
I have somebody pay that FedEx check.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy on the who was the guy? Is he?
Shazier on the Texans?
Yeah, right.
It's a lot easier to catch the ball when they're throwing it to you.
By the way, real quick, you all played, all right?
All 4.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. My perspective, so everybody went nuts about that hit on Trevor Lawrence. For the guy who suspended him, John Runyon, said it was a dirty. John Runyon's made a million dirty hits. Okay?
I played with John Runyon.
Right, dirty player.
I'm not going to say he's a dirty player.
Well,
he was a grimy guy.
Yeah,
he had
exactly.
a lot of penalties.
So
he say that.
Everybody went nuts about that. Some people were saying he should be kicked out of the league.
I
didn't think it was as bad as everybody made it seem. I think it's groupthink. I'm not sure Trevor Lawrence slid late there. Nobody's considering that at all. I don't know. Am I wrong, or did you guys think it was terrible?
I think you don't get the benefit of the doubt when you've had multiple penalties like
fair.
this. And if this were some random guy you've never heard of play DB, you'd be like, man, it was close. I don't know if he meant it. You wouldn't be questioning the intent.
Right.
As much as this, we're like, it's black or white.
It's like Draymond Green doing something. It's like
exactly great point.
That
guy doesn't get the benefit of the doubt.
I'm more fixated on the John Runyon as the security judge.
Yeah, right.
It's almost as humorous to me, and I'm getting too old to where the listeners probably don't find this as humorous. But that's also like Ronnie Lotz in charge of concussion treatments. I go, bro, you gave me half of mine.
John Runyon might be the one player that overlapped with both of us.
Yeah.
You might have played when you played and when I played.
Forever.
Dude, that guy's been around
If
forever.
our fans don't know who Ronnie Lott is, then they got problems. I don't care how old you are.
Do you guys think that they should just say eliminate quarterbacks from running?
Yeah.
So they say you automatically have to slide. And if a quarterback does not slide, it's a 15-yard penalty. So eliminate the quarterback even being hit. He slides, you're down right there.
Yeah, but when does he have to slide?
You can't
By
really
contact.
Can't do that.
It's so subjective.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's a massive
I think
issue
your
for
idea
defensive guys.
is a good idea.
I think if quarterbacks fake a slide, that should be a penalty.
The Kenny Pickett.
It is.
It is a penalty now.
Oh, it is a penalty.
Kenny Pickett set the rule, man.
That, but yeah.
did it
Or you got to tag off on them like in practice. Tag off on them, you're down right there.
No, I think they teach the defensive player the correct way. You shoot at this body, and if he goes down, you should fly over the top.
Or honestly, that's not a bad idea. Just have you know how a quarterback is in practice. As soon as you come up to tag off,
He's down right there.
I got a question for the defensive guys out there. They were talking about this exact conversation. I forget who said it, and I apologize for not giving them credit. But they said Lamar, part of the reason he doesn't slide but doesn't get big hits is when he's about to get tackled, he dives into the defender's knees. Because if he dives first, then the defense has to kind of get out the way so he avoids a ton of big hits. Is that?
I didn't even know.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Like Lamar
Dirty on the opposite side?
Lamar,
That's kinda smart.
Lamar Jackson playing three-dimensional chess
He's not
out
going out
here.
there like trying to hurt them. He's just
Right.
it's his way of avoiding getting clobbered.
Yeah, I mean, if you dive down, they're not going.
I mean, that's smart as
That's
heck.
really smart.
you
I
can't get lower than a dive. I mean, low man wins. They always
Bernie,
say,
what do you
right?
think about that? You and Lamar, there's not much difference
Well, as
athletic-wise.
a quarterback here, I'm just really feeling sorry for myself that I wasn't fast enough to even consider diving at your legs.
Here's the question. Both you and Lamar, in your primes, what yard line would you have to start at to beat him to the end zone?
Wow, I'd like to say that I only need a couple yard head start, but my Pinocchio nose would grow too much, bro. I think that's got to be a double-digit answer.
Yeah.
Double-digit
12,
yards.
13 yards?
Yeah,
I think
so.
your longest run was like almost. It was like 20,
It was
25
like
or
19,
26
22
yards.
or something.
Mine was it was a 2 deep, 5 under, man. It was like spreading of the Red Seas that
And you ran up the
Moses did.
middle.
It was 22 yards. Yes.
23 yards, and the YouTube clip, Bernie, I'm sorry to do this to you, but the the YouTube headline is Bernie Kosar, parentheses, slow quarterback, longest run of his career.
And he was in the open too.
If I started at the 50-yard line and Lamar started at the goal line, would I beat him to the next end zone?
No chance.
No, not
at all.
Not a chance.
We would have 50-yard head start? No, I wouldn't.
No, not even
All right,
close.
what about from the 40? He has to go 60
You
more
couldn't run.
yards.
You couldn't
I
run
don't
50
think so.
yards in
I could.
9
Even in terrible shape, I could.
in 9 seconds. You couldn't.
Yeah, he did the.
No.
Dustin,
So
before you joined the show-
Lamar's going to run the 100 yards
Yeah.
in under 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Around 10 seconds.
Marquis
So I'd
said-
have to
Marquis
go-
said
You got to go
he walked
50
you.
in under 10 seconds.
No, I can't do that.
No, you can't.
So from the 30?
40, you win.
You got him from the 30.
You'll beat him from the 30.
I think you might get him for the 40.
But
You
I'm
just don't
telling
want
you,
to pull tear an Achilles or anything.
Yeah, I definitely would hurt
what was the
something.
guy's name? The Freeze, Atlanta.
The
The guy,
Freeze, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Oh, it's
when they do that.
fantastic.
All right,
We
Mike,
got some
good.
super chats to
Yeah.
wrap up the show. Salvador Thor 216 says, "You guys are the best sports voices in all of Cleveland. Love
That's
the show.
true.
It's my new everyday go-to." Salvador, thank you. He says,
Peace.
Mike, what do you think about a trade for Jonathan Kuminga at the small forward spot? Cavs should be just as worried about the Hawks as Boston in the playoffs. They have big wings, our weakness. I like Kuminga. I'm not sure he solves the issue at the 3, and any trade the Cavs make, they have to extend Kuminga, and I don't think they have the cap flexibility or would want to get into that.
All right.
But I like him as a player. Jason Runyon says, hot take, Mike Tomlin is the modern-day Marvin Lewis.
That's a terrible take.
That's a
Marvin
most
Lewis never won a
ridiculous take
playoff
I've
game.
ever heard in my life.
And Marvin Lewis, by the way, wasn't a terrible coach. He was okay.
Marvin Lewis
he was
is
fine.
an excellent coach.
Yeah,
And-
well,
and
I don't know about excellent.
An
but-
excellent defensive coach.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
But he never won a playoff game. You can't compare him to Mike Tomlin. I know it's been a while since Tomlin won a playoff
Yeah,
game.
that's a ridiculous comparison.
Yeah, that's terrible.
one's a Hall of Famer. Other guys are considered a great coach.
Yeah.
Or a really good coach.
I think great strong, but all right,
I
whatever.
just
You know
changed
me.
it to really good for you. I changed it for
Yeah,
you
thank
to
you,
really
thank
good.
you, thank
I
you.
drove down to West Virginia last
Yeah.
week, and I drove
Almost
through
7.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and I couldn't. So I listened to Pittsburgh talk radio.
Yeah.
You'd have thought they were 3-10.
That's crazy.
Their fans are.
I was
some of their fans are nuts.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Pony.
it was more negative than what we go through.
That's crazy.
What we do, and we're 3-10.
stirring the pot.
We make apologies for shit players. They get bothered by good players or coaches. I don't know.
Next up, Below and Za 247 says, "Well, I'll be damned. G's cosplaying as an inner tube today."
What?
Oh, the coat, making fun of the puffy coat.
Puffy jacket.
Man, you could have said something about Missy Elliott. You could have did. Listen, man, this is that. Just that drip right now.
Oh,
Who
man.
said that comment, by the way?
Oh, you got to stand up. I
That
was just with Ludacris, man.
You stand up. That was better. That was better. I like that one. That Ludacris joint. You know the commercial? He was like, "State Farm." Shout out to State Farm. You didn't see it.
I don't know.
Charles T has
Yeah,
two
he was
super
rocking
chats.
South Beach for Art Basel last week with me.
These are both from Charles T. He says, "Bull looks like Bull. G looks like Ice Cube, the lineman, though. Dustin looks like every undercover cop on Chicago PD. Tyvus, go Bearcats."
Go Bearcats.
Hey. Yeah.
Charles T. also says, "Bull, how many white guys do you know named Ty or Jerome?"
Facts.
I know a couple named Ty.
That's something there.
That is facts. That was cold.
A tie, sure, because
I played with the
it's
Tyson.
because it's short for Tyson. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Tyrone, not so sure.
Tyrone, yeah, you never meet a Tyrone.
Never.
Tyrone Biggums.
Tyrone is actually a name that's actually going out of style. Like
Tyrone was a popular name. Kids my age.
Yeah, Tyrone's and Shaniqua's
I knew
went out.
I knew a Shaniqua.
Yeah,
Shaniqua Wilson. I knew her.
Anytime y'all get a hold of something, y'all just drag it.
And I knew Tyrone Parker.
And then we have to
He was
divorce
badass.
ourselves from it. We can't. We just can't do it no more.
Nigel,
Bernie.
that's another one that's gone.
Yeah,
Two more, Bull. We
Now
got
the
two
only
more.
Nigels are like weird British guys.
Yeah.
Two more. Blow and Za 247 also says, "Bull's jeans are riding up his ass like he's about to go down a slide."
You know what's funny? I had to buy new jeans. I had to buy new jeans.
What are those?
And they don't fit me. Listen, when you're fat and short, it's hard to find clothes to fit. I got my jeans shortened because they're too long. And I think they shortened them too much, and I don't know. They don't fit me nice.
I feel like there's got to be.
Y'all cold.
That's the same one
that.
that
Y'all-
looks like an inner tube.
Y'all are cold. How did you even?
That's funny, though.
You've noticed this
Funny.
for 2 whole hours, and you waited to.
That's funny. I'll give you credit.
And last one, Bull says, "What do you think about the Mark Gastineau Brett Favre thing? Is it real or fake?"
Oh,
It's
man.
real.
It's real.
I think it's real too.
Oh, hey, I
gotta
got
see
I
this
Go
got
back
sack.
to the guy
I gotta see the
He's
sack.
a mess.
I know.
Why is it a controversial sack?
because
He took a dive.
It was like the last game of the year.
Yeah.
It was like a 2 minutes to go in the game.
You remember that, Bernie?
Oh, God,
He
yeah.
he rolls out.
That was a disgrace what Favre did.
Hey, but could I say to Mark Gastineau, who started my concussion issues, for
He
the
was an
first
animal.
guy to knock out some
Yeah.
of my teeth, and wear your mouthpiece, kids out there. But I actually thought when I saw that with a guy who has some of the health issues I got, and knowing that Brett Favre just got a Parkinson's diagnosis and Gastineau's had one for a long time. This the sadness of how one of the great athletes and bodies and tough guys and athletic guys of Mark Gastineau just looks so hurting, so sad. And so many of our
that's what I'm saying. He looks
so much
sad.
of us guys, we die bad, and that's just bad.
Well,
I watched Chris Dolman.
Bernie,
get
I'm sorry to cut you off, but Boomer said on his radio show yesterday that Gastineau was a very dirty player. Do you agree with him or no?
We all were back then.
was a different
That was
time,
it.
yeah.
You
That
know,
was-
I
that was
mean,
fair game.
we all were. It was the killer be killed mode back then, and those guys. It's not fair just to single him out because you had to be back then, and then we had to be offensively dirty too, back the other way. So we would try to chop their legs and hold them up and do things you shouldn't do.
Bernie, how bad is it that Tyvus did not know what the New York Sack Exchange was?
I got body scars from every one of them guys.
I never heard of Mark
It's one of my
Gastineau.
funny
It was
things.
Gastineau, Klecko, Abdul Salam,
Marty Lyons.
and Marty Lyons. I couldn't think of the
God,
first one.
Marty Lyons, yep.
Yeah, that's right.
I will see you in overtime.
See you in overtime. Ultimate
Peace.
Cleveland Sports Show. Bye.
Guys.
He definitely took a dive. He